currently doing quite moderately well, 5-3 in their group. In the group of everybody is close other than VGJ Storm apparently, looking like the outlier. So 5-3 is a good record. Newbie sitting at 5-5, so technically they're at the same placement, but that means that for them to be equal, VP needs to get an 0-2 somewhere. So I think Newbie's got to be scared right now. You know, they're on that edge of like, are we going to break even, go positive? I think they'd be probably happy with a 1-1 here, considering how good VP is. And I think VP is really going to be more preferring slamming down a 2-0 to get themselves a better seed. With that said, though, even if VP gets like 3rd or 4th seed, they're not too worried because I mean, I guess they don't want to play EG in the other group, most likely, but it's unlikely they picked anyways, I would say. But
yeah, I think Newbee's a team that's just happy to get through in the winner bracket. They've not been looking dominant. They've looked good at times and then shaky at other times. They started yesterday 0-4 after a great day one, and then end the day with a 2-0 over Serenity. And in a group that's so close, like so many draws, so many teams sitting around 50%, last place currently has a 3-win, 5-loss record. That's almost 50%.
And I think the toughest thing for Newbie on their 2 0-2s yesterday is that they were against teams that I didn't really expect them to do so poorly. I was expecting some 1-1s. They lost to Vici Gaming and they lost to Optic. Optic currently sitting 3-5 as well towards that bottom. So some crucial losses for them that happened yesterday destroyed my fantasy and also put them in this dangerous position where they might not hit winner bracket.
Yeah, destroyed my fantasy too. We're going to be Newbie haters here.
KP,
we don't.
Faith.
Oh my God.
How could you?
Yep, absolutely. Disgusting stuff from these guys. But here we go. They picked up Enchantress, so looking to make some amends here on day number 3. VP going for the Weaver Dark Willow. VP's motif, I feel, for not just like TI, but over the last year, even the last 2 years, even going, I feel like way back to when they were one of the dominant teams in the major era, has just been to dominate lanes. They love to have strong lanes, good early game, win as many lanes as possible, and just crush from there.
So what I like seeing when I do watch teams like that are so lane focused is like I feel like watching this game I'm like VP's gonna know what to do. They're gonna see an enchant. They're like we know exactly what the solution is. Maybe Weaver is part of that. Maybe Dark Willow is part of that. Maybe it's just a safe opening. But at least they don't have to worry about Enchantress pressuring Weaver in a super one-sided way. He can probably poke around, get some last hits without being pressured. Lion's gonna change that a little bit though, because if he ever does get caught, a lot of disables, a lot of burst damage.
Yeah, it's like an immediate response to make sure you have a Weaver solution. Even just forcing Weaver to get a Lincoln Sphere, I feel like, is a small victory in itself. Like, if you can get away with just having straight Diffusal into, like, a BKB against spell damage, you're just a lot happier. But having to get Lincolns just makes life that little bit harder and tougher in the mid-game.
Yeah, absolutely. You could really even see it in the last game we just covered, the Liquid match, where Miracle did have to worry about some burst damage from like Fissures and Reaper Scythe and stuff. He did go heavily strength items, but he still played very conservatively in his aggression. He didn't go overly divey. He always had an ally sitting near him to cover him if needed. So yeah, if you are forced to, you can definitely see the playstyle difference basically if you are forced down those item paths. And we've also seen a couple Weavers that just built Maelstroms and then got into some like other item builds that don't do enough. I really think that the heavy right click build is the way you have to go.
Yep.
And I'm sure VP knows that too.
Yeah, if you can, having just physical damage and no defensive items, if you get away with that, you're in a great position. But already with the line in the playing field gets a bit trickier. We'll see where else they get to protect it, because VP, maybe it's not even that going to be that Ramses one position. Very likely it could also be played in the off lane, something that Pasha handles. Flexibility is definitely part of this hero's nature. I've even seen, I saw no one play it when they picked up Broodmother, who will not be getting picked up because he's first stage banned. VP have been first 2 picking Brood. They think, they can get away with it in the first 2 pick. And I love that in the group stage, because now they're going to go in the main event and teams are going to be first banning Brood against them, even if VP doesn't think it's first pick worthy.
That's a great point, actually. It's like worth, and when we were talking about like the seeding order, again, they're coming into the tournament, top 3 team. Everybody says VP's in there, right?
Yep.
So even if they get 4th seed in the group instead of 3rd, whoever gets first in the opposite group is almost always going to pick the other guy over VP. So it's like no matter where they kind of land, as long as they're in winner bracket, they're probably content. So if they are mind gaming this a little bit, that could absolutely be one of their strategies.
It's like, everyone going up against Liquid, it was like this constant draft edge that Liquid had because you had to ban Io against him and you had to ban Coddle against him, it feels like, too, because no one knew how to deal with GH's Coddle. If no one knows how to deal with Ramsey's Brood, it's auto-ban. So
it does do so many good things too. It's like your opponents have to worry a little bit about AoE. They have to worry about just getting kind of stomped in one lane. They have to worry about the pressure that's going to come afterwards because VP also wins the other lanes usually. So it's just a multifaceted thing that yeah, one more ban in the first phase too.
Yep. See Ursa Alk deleted from this game, as well as the Faceless Void from the VP side. Alk's had decent success, and I feel like being played by, I've seen EG, I've seen VP, so Liquid as well, Miracles. So it seems like some of these top teams feel like Alchemist is viable, which is always something to kind of learn from what some of the minds behind those, you know, upper echelon of teams are thinking in terms of the meta.
But what is the difference though? Because I've seen weaker teams pick Alk and do poorly. I've seen other teams pick Alk and it just seems like an easy game. Is it just like their strength? Is it their other lanes? Like why does it just seems bad sometimes and really good others?
I imagine these teams are better at playing around it and understanding, you know, we need to do these certain things to make Alk work, whether it's really pressure and play aggressive in the other lanes to create space, or, you know, really protect the Alk, whatever that may be. I think, you know, you can't just bust out an Alk if you haven't played or you're not comfortable with it.
Or maybe it's like a game sense of knowing where your opponents are, so therefore like, oh, I could be ganked in my jungle right now, I'm not covered, I'll go farm in a different jungle spot. Things like that are so hard to spot unless you're watching the replay or on their voice comms, but those change the game in a huge way too.
Yep. Yeah, like with the TNC Optic Alk game we saw, like TNC had a really good understanding of just how to go aggressive, shut down Mortis camp, but at the same time Alk had good farm, and I feel like if that was one of those other top teams playing Alk, they could have likely won that game, even though Optic could not.
Yeah, that's possible. Bloodseeker ends up being the first pick out of the next phase, so we'll see a CM response as well, maybe BS. Planning to lane against the Enchantress, perhaps, could be a way to kind of offset the heal advantage that she has, because her harass is not incredible. Her base damage is good, but it's not one of those overwhelming laning presence. It's more like she stays alive, and that's exactly what Bloodseeker also does. So I feel like that could be a lane where he could stabilize quite easily against her. Yep. At least until she hits 6, I guess.
Yeah, at level 6, it's like who wants to and can lane against an Ench, and the answer is normally pretty few. We'll see what happens when we get to that point. Crystal Maiden likely to be a 4 position, played in the off lane as like a spammer to go with the Ench. And Newbee pick up PL. I like it. I don't feel like we're seeing enough PLs. I think this is still one of the best carries out there and just being forgotten a little bit almost.
Yeah, it has some laning difficulties, though. The way I thought about yesterday is like his offensive power is not as good as a lot of other cores, so maybe it gives you some matchup potential where you just kind of lose. And they also, they banned Alk, Ursa, so maybe that was kind of under their line of thinking as well, that those lane matchups wouldn't be the best. But I also like it with the CM too. More mana to spam, so more Spirit Lances and things like that. And he matches up well against Bloodseeker. He matches up pretty well against Weaver too. You won't be able to kill the bugs from Doppelganger. But offensively, once you get Diffusal Blade, both of those heroes are going to have a little trouble there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even though you can kind of find the real PL, when you Doppelgangers, it's not like a matchup win for the Weaver, just because Weaver doesn't deal well with illusions, and even the Maelstrom build never feels like, seems like a band-aid rather than like a full solution to the actual PL problem.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. The Venge pick at that stage seems also pretty solid. Other teams picking it earlier phase, but there's not enough picks in the early phase to throw it in for VP, so I think it fits here well. More minus armor to combo with Weaver. Both Weaver and Bloodseeker have pretty strong right clicks, so amping that with the aura is good. And it's also a lot of threat if they die even, like the aura running those dead heroes into right click a Crystal Maiden or a Lion or an Enchantress. That sounds pretty valuable.
So likely Solo's hero. The Venge as a Zeus gets banned out, so perhaps thinking about what some of those illusion clear heroes could be.
It's a counter against PL in lane, if I'm not mistaken. I think I heard somebody talking about that.
Okay.
That you lane it as like a 4, and then you just spam Bolt and Arc Lightning on him in the lane.
Well, I imagine they are looking for a core hero with their last pick, however.
Okay.
Unless they're running Venge as a core, but we haven't been seeing that, at least not so far.
It is a good Zeus game, though, looking at Newbee's heroes. Like Enchantress,
so
Burstable, all the Lion CM, if they're out of range, they're just dead.
Yep.
Definitely would have been great. Good illusion clear.
Yep. So what do Newbee want? They're looking for some kind of stable mid. They do have to worry about the counter pick to whatever they're getting. Maybe they're planning like some kind of Tinker if you're going to be banning a Zeus. Or it may just be that they don't want to versus Zeus because of how good it is against their other 4 heroes. But Ember comes out.
Okay. No lockdown.
Yeah. I worry though, because like Ember's a hero that always has several counters in the mid lane, and I feel like VP can very easily find a good lane matchup for No One, who is one of the scarier mid players to go up against.
I would agree with that. Yeah, the matchups are a little scary, but against the heroes that are currently on the board, he's super good. I would argue against Weaver, you're preventing Sakuchi invisibility. Basically, I think you might still be able to time lapse through it, but you can lock down Bloodseeker if you get ruptured. It's not as scary because you can Flame Remnant away. You can dodge the silence with a Sight of Fist or a Remnant. Against Venge, dodge the stun in multiple ways. So there's a lot of really good things that Ember does this game. I definitely like him as a pick here.
Yeah. And it's like the same reason Ember's good is why Storm would have been good, which was what VP banned, is what you're saying, how there's just that limited lockdown, and the kind of silences there are from Bloodseeker are very easy to dodge for these mobile Spirit heroes.
So VP needs a hero that's going to lane well against Ember Spirit if they don't want to put Bloodseeker or Weaver there. And they also need a hero that possibly will help them deal with the PL, because they don't have that solution yet with those first two Weaver Bloodseeker picks in their first three. So that's the big question. And I'm actually really interested to see how VP tries to find a solution, because we've seen other teams, I believe Newbee, building like triple Maelstrom Mjolnir against PL, and it just didn't feel good at all. They need a solution, and I'm sure they've got one in mind, and I'm hoping we get to see it.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to bust out something really bizarre and unexpected here.
Or build like a Battle Fury mid-game Bloodseeker is my other guess. But Battle Fury is really bad against like Lion CM Ember.
Yeah, I think it's more likely going to go the Radiance. Mid-Shaker. Here we go.
Is it?
That's what I'm talking. Absolutely. Gotta believe it, Purge.
Oh,
he's doing
you
it.
Knew it.
This is the Sumail special. I mean, this isn't Sumail, but this I remember Sumail used to do bust out a Shaker when he's against like a melee mid hero, and Ember does not really want to get too close. When Shaker gets a few level, those totem whacks are going to hurt.
I'm really excited for this game now. No One's a fantastic player. VP is a solid team. I want to see him do some crazy stuff like a Blink Ags or maybe Blink Shadowblade Ags or something.
This is a fun little pick here. I think VP, it's also seriously a good pick because it gives them some much needed lockdown. It gives them a PL counter. It gives them a lane winner. Everything you listed you wanted out of your mid hero, I feel like Shaker gives them. The one thing Shaker maybe lacks is this ability to kind of scale to the late game a bit, as a carry at least, but I don't think he's even that terrible there.
Is there like a matchup swap where Newbee could put like PL mid instead of or Ember Spirit?
I mean, do you want PL mid against
Shaker
anyways?
Better because you have like 8 or 9 armor or something crazy.
Yeah.
Especially if you use Phantom Rush in first. So like at least his enchant totem harass is gonna feel absolutely massively like way
The issue
less.
is then what's his lane in the safe lane, because I don't feel like he has a better time there anyways, because then you're versing those annoying offensive dual lanes. So Willow plus Bloodseeker, it looks like.
Yeah, and even Weaver. Weaver would be really tough too.
Yep.
Just invis most of the time. Your mana pool won't be enough. But with that said, OG did play Ember constantly in the safe lane during qualifiers. The fact that I haven't seen it at all here makes me feel like it's not good anymore in some way.
Okay.
But maybe there's a way to, maybe there's like something missing from the draft that's going to make it okay to do. I mean, they still stuck with the same heroes, so it's still probably SEC mid, but
yeah, we've seen the odd Enchantress mid, and KP did go mid on Enigma, so maybe that's the option. That is definitely a hero that would win against Shaker. Good luck getting a totem hit on him when he has any points in Untouchable.
That's true.
You've got a range advantage, but I don't know. That's the one. I think if you're going to do a lane adjustment, you send KP mid, but at the same time, you may just say, look, SCCC, we believe in you. I'm sure he's saying like, oh, I can versus Shaker mid. It's not too bad.
Hey, he got some armor, but he's walking out with 4.2 armor at level 1.
Okay.
This used to be a 0. I mean, he's got a Slippers and an Ironwood branch, but that's an impressive amount of armor, much more than he used to have. So maybe this matchup isn't the same as it used to be.
Well, things will unravel here. A mid Shaker from Virtus.pro's No One. VP Pasha going to be playing that safe lane Bloodseeker, so looks like they want to send the stronger laning heroes, the Weaver, up against the PL of Newbee, and for the time being, Newbee are sending both supports to their safe lane to protect that Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, so
leaving KP on his own.
So they will have the expected Bloodseeker Enchantress matchup if he can sustain that harass, and yeah, that's definitely possible to pressure the PL. And certainly we've seen a lot of Bloodseekers get pressured by really strong dual lanes, but this one doesn't feel strong enough to maybe outlane him. But we'll see how it goes out. So looking across the river here, maybe going for a Wave of Terror to the left is what I expect. Pops the Tango, knows he's going to fight. That was pretty well done. They were very ready for that outcome.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure they could get some of these, but VP themselves back at top, getting the bounty runes there. KP already using that level 1 heal, which is a big chunk of his mana. The cooldown not going to be too big of a deal. Pasha just going to instantly go in for some right clicks here, so Newbee even up the lanes. Kaka TP's top, so we'll see that 2-1-2 setup. And dual lanes will be coming up from both teams. Not an easy lane down bottom for the CMPL, and back in mid we have that Ember versus Shaker, the place to keep your eyes pinned as we have a no-one mid Shaker here.
That's the one that's going to be interesting for sure. Gets the range creep deny, a little glyph as well on the last melee. We'll see if we can get the last hit on this one. Looks like he will be able to. So, still pretty even. 2-0 here, first wave.
We'll see Bloodseeker. Actually, again, we saw this earlier, going for the level 1 Blood Right, just using it for some harass and to secure some last hits.
Okay.
Something a bit different. And
it's a good move, though. I mean, if you get Blood Rage and you don't have a way to defend yourself, really, you're just going to take so much damage. And this way he can actually help out if his supports are trading as well. Throw out the nuke, at least then the Dark Will is not going to feel completely 2v1 bullied, so it definitely helps the laning stage in a big way.
Yeah, it kind of forces KP to just Kaka to run away and take more right clicks from the Dark Willow. So very happy times here. No one back at mid, just constantly going to be using this totem. Likely see him at least getting 2 points in it early, maybe even maxing it out by level 7 because of how much damage it dishes.
Yeah, it's going to try to use it for denies primarily, but every time he casts the spell, he'll get a last hit and get the with the aftershock, and then also get the follow-up.
See so far SCCC just holding his own just fine. 5-1 to the 7-3, 6-1 now, so even with the wave pushing forward. So last hit-wise, he's doing fine. The issues really come at like level 3, level 4. Once Shaker gets leveled, the lane gets more and more difficult. Roger up top taking a lot of harass. He doesn't have Shadow Realm. This is going to be a kill for KP, who's got the movement speed advantage. Roger trying to juke in the trees. He tangos through. KP gets the first blood, and Pasha could not dive the tower for the kill. Well, he could, but he's not getting a kill.
Yep, just not fast enough. I mean, he has the boot speed advantage, but that's about it. No thirst, no bonus damage. Didn't want to use Blood Rage because he had limited right click, so no kill, surprisingly.
Well, decent start for Newbee's lanes, all things considered. Both sides getting some okay farm on all their cores in different places. And you can see here SCCC just happy to use the Flame Guard just to push out a lane, get what last hits he can, knowing that he doesn't really want to be trading hits with a Shaker. So when he's got this big wave, he just wants to put it under the tower, put no one on the back foot.
Solo catching Crystal Maiden here. She's in some trouble, but she does go for a TP. It's really close.
And now he won't have TP when he respawns. That's one of those really tough moments for a support. Kind of regret using the TP. Just wish you'd maybe let yourself die, because walking the lane is the walk of shame.
I genuinely thought he was going to make it out, but just a little bit too much right click from the Wave of Terror and the double animation. It was the right move. He was dead otherwise. But yeah, like you said, maybe saves the TP and is better off. But now very punished in this lane. So the Roger rotation is worth it.
Particularly bad because you're a CM. 277 movement speed. It's not even a walk of shame. It's a crawl.
Yeah. It's a tough moment to be in. SC pressuring up a little bit once again. No one's been able to abuse this Arcane Rune, a really good rune to have here. So you can spam enchant more. But just going a 1-1-4 build, at least for now. I'm sure he'll get another enchant totem at 5, perhaps.
He maybe just wants that longer stun duration from Aftershock. This is a build where when you get 6 with your Echo Slam, you can get more kills here. He gets a rotation from Dark Willow. Needs to...
He's got a bottle too.
Yeah, Willow's kind of blocking a bit here, but at the same time, both of these players are pretty slow. Goes for the fissure block. Does he get it? He does. Great. Oh, yeah, he does. Wasn't sure for a second there. Great play from no one, using that Ancient's area to line up the fissure and get the full-on block. Really smart move from him.
There's a regen bot rune. Newbee's going to know about that one. We'll see.
Yeah, will they venture down there? It doesn't look like priorities are on
Probably.
it. Faith is, yeah, like, I'm sure Faith is being told by SCCC, dude, go get that rune or deny it, do something about it.
Yeah, no one's got a bottle as well, and he's the one that's going to want it more with the empty bottle and the empty mana pool. So yeah, Faith's going to blow it up.
He still has enough mana right now. He still has a Mango, and Roger's lurking around this mid lane, maybe looking for another kill here, but TP's coming in from Lion, as well as the CM rotation. It looks like Roger's going to scout out this gank and keep no one alive.
He's going to get pretty low here, but barely catches the next Bramble. Unlikely to get the kill either way. Roger's going to stay alive just fine. So causing a lot of support movement. And if you look at what's being lost, it's PL not getting last hits. 13-2 now versus the 24-8 on the Weaver. So definitely having a bit of a tough time. But he is still getting last hits, and he's got regen aplenty.
Weaver's going to find and run into these two supports. Looks to go for a kill here with the Beatles. Should be able to find at least one here. Goes on Faith first. Can he find the second one? Kuchi on after. Kaka still has all the hits on this Beetle, but it looks like with the tower safety, he's not going to be chased down.
A lot of damage to him, though. Gets pretty zoned. And it looks like they can go double bounty on Newbee's side. The top lane one is still there. KP didn't want to have to spend the time getting both sets, trying to get back in lane.
He's got phase boots. He's bullying this Bloodseeker, who luckily has some thirst stacks. Otherwise, he'd be in some trouble.
That's a really cool way to provide the solution here. Just go phase so that you just do as much damage as possible in the laning stage with harass, so you can out-harass him through the regen.
Back at bottom lane, Mugi's gone in looking for Ramses, but Shikuchi available. Not really much Mugi can do, and he needs to be careful. Needs to doppelganger the stun. Will do so. Mugi gets away. Could have been a problematic situation for him if not. And in mid lane, no one out of mana, maybe looking for a shrine of his own, which doesn't actually exist. So he needs a 6-minute rune. He's going to be going down bottom where the action's unfolding. Weaver and PL fighting it out. Ramsey's got the edge here with the stick charges. He doesn't even need them. Kaka under the tower does deal with the bug on him, but is still surrounded by the two VP supports. Solo and Roger block him in, cage him in the trees. Kaka out of escapes, even spotted by the Thirst. Going to give some intel as to where he is. Solo has a stun on the exit. Magic Missile comes out. Ramsey doesn't really want to commit to this one, not with his current health. And Roger may be left on his own. Shadow Realm TP available in 2 seconds here. Roger should be okay. Shadow Realm gets himself out of there. And he's home free.
Man, and watching all these early engagements, I can't help but think of Faith's interrupted TP before where he got killed. Yeah. He's just walking around as level 2. If he has a Frostbite, if he has a second point in Nova, all these fights are going to be so much better for them to win, but he's just so far behind. That one kill felt so game-winning.
This is also maybe one of the weaknesses of Enchantress that you can exploit. It's a hero that's just going to sit in lane. It's not brilliant TP rotator hero. Like a lot of these your typical offlanes, like if that Pengo, you're level 6, you TP down there, you're Rolling Thunder, you have a kind of mobility spell with Swashbuckle to get into position, but Ench, TP, they run away, okay, you can't, you've wasted your rotation. So you rotate to the Ench's lane, which is what Kaka will do. Double siege creep pushes the tower, and then Kaka comes in, finds the Bloodseeker for a nice little pick-off.
And even though they have been dying, their tower still isn't dead yet. It's low, it's got 500 health, but what they were getting out of the top lane is certainly a good trade-off here.
Yep.
Kaka's going to get caught, it gets rooted as well, Wave of Terror, some right clicks perhaps, but not that much follow-up.
Didn't get the full-on fissure block here. Roger's going to go for the Shadow Realm hit.
They need a ward.
Going to get out. The wave will give some vision, and nicely done.
That was great. Then they save a ward, don't have to use a ward for the vision. A little bug damage on Faith, he's very likely, yeah.
Back at mid though, Roger has been caught by S-Triple-C. The Cursed Crown gets dodged. Nicely done by S-Triple-C using the Remnant for that
great bottle charge.
Vulnerability.
And he doesn't want to chase out of the Remnant, so great save there. And he also bottles an Invis. This is a super good grab. 3 points in Enchant, 3 points in Aftershock, and he's going in for it. Uses Enchant out of safety range. The Sentry's not going to spot this if he runs straight up, so we'll see if SCC
he's on the
moves.
creep wave. Oh, there's the Echo Slam after the totem. Easy peasy, says VP No One, and takes the kill. He got spotted picking up the Invis rune, right? Yeah.
That should not have happened, actually. There's no way that he should have died there. I don't know if he just wasn't expecting the damage, if he thought, like, oh, there's no creeps and didn't see the creep wave coming, but No One got everything he wanted. He even hit before Echo. Like, he was min-maxing that one, and that was an easy pickup.
Just No One things indeed, as VP in a decent spot here. KP having a fantastic game on the Enchantress, but very much the core of the reason why you pick this hero, to be a lane dominator, to have a good early game, is going for a drums build, so should expect some early involvement, and perhaps with this movement speed burst, he will be playing more around his team, looking to rotate a bit more efficiently. Holding on to his siege creep for now, but so far just sticking it out in the top lane.
If he finds people out of position, he's going to deal a huge amount of damage, and they have good disable on their side, but they're preoccupied trying to make sure that Phantom Lancer's lane is going okay, and then ideally they can maybe harass Ramses too, but so far I haven't seen that very much. Great stun here, though. This could be the follow-up they need. He's going to get low. Will they get him? They do.
Yeah, it's a big kill, taking down the Weaver. Your Bloodseeker is already not having a good time, and now Weaver takes a spill as well. They do get the return kill on the Lion, but losing the Venge in the process here. Pasha has rotated in Mugi. Not going to be chasing down for this one. I see a Rupture coming out. It's Faith's Crystal Maiden TPing out. No stuns available, and yeah, that's a good TP.
I'd be a little scared if I was him after the last time that worked out, but Mugi, the PL did so much damage in that fight, and they did have 2 sentries down to cover this a bit, and they did a good job with the supports to sit back and wait for that opportunity. But Weaver finally getting punished here.
Yep. First crown to try secure a bounty rune. Roger wins the right-click battle, but will he win the battle for his life? He's going to stay alive here. Has the Bramble Maze as well. PL needs to get to this shrine. He gets rooted up. Will be A-okay. As Roger still has a Shadow Realm should he need it for an escape.
That was a bit of a mistake by Kaka there. He was a little focused on the bugs on Mugi. Maybe should have gone for a stun. And because there was a lot of rotations. That was Ember Spirit coming over the KP also came for a teleport. So if they get a disable, they'd have follow-up, probably get a kill. A little mistake, but sometimes in those moments, hard to notice everything around you going on.
So pretty even on gold right now, even though the kills do favor VP. Mid lane, going in on Shaker. 3-man fissure. Bramble Mesa followed up. Shaker, though, going to get deleted by KP with the Impetus. Says Triple C in some trouble here as the silence did land, and he just couldn't find a way out of there. KP still throwing these big chunky nukes, as it will just be a mid lane for mid lane exchange.
Pretty even across the board. Slightly better for the Radiant side. They got more experience, but also cost him, you know, a little bit of Remnant. I guess they're mostly full. It'll be okay here.
Yeah,
nice. Queuing up BOTs next, too. So it's maybe the more old style of BOTs.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen, I feel like, more of a trend towards going back to the treads and getting a bit tankier. PL. Ooh.
Great Hex. This should be a kill, I think, if they get the follow-up.
The Impale to follow it up, and there's a Remnant. He's an S-Triple-C, making sure they get the kill. Kaka, right place, the right time. This guy plays a sick Lion. Not many teams who put their 4-position player on the line, but Newbee, one of those who does it every now and then, and Kaka great at making plays on the hero.
It's so much easier to have a mana pool without needing mana drain when you play Lion now, just because of the more mana that you get from Int as your primary attribute. So he's able to get all these disables. He's moving around quick with Tranquils, and perfect place to prep and get there.
And on top of that has the CM aura, which has really enabled everyone on this team to just constantly be ready to fight. The last kind of 2 or 3 minutes, despite being down in kills, Newbee have managed to kind of go toe-to-toe with VP in these constant clashes.
An interesting item build on KP is going to be going for a Glimmer Cape.
Just saw that one, and theoretically this early invis is going to force out a lot of sentries and dusts and whatnot.
So VP off, pushing the off lane at least, so Ramses will get a tower. He is queuing up a Javelin, probably will be going the Maelstrom build. So likely to see the similar things as we saw in some of the other games versus the PL, just Maelstroms for now.
Yep.
Although Pasha's not having the best game, I would say. He's queuing up a Blade Mill. His net worth is still pretty good, but he's not like he doesn't feel like in a super commanding position, and the matchups aren't that great, I would say. So I feel like it's going to be a while till he gets some kind of a PL solution as well. So maybe Mugi might get out of control.
Yeah. And it's also not just the PL. I feel like they need an Ench solution in some ways. We've seen Enches just dominate these games. Faith at mid. Quick, easy pickoff. No one's Blink Dagger coming out. He's level 11 with the DD rune, so still could pose a big threat. Didn't use any big spells for that one.
Yeah, he's just trying to accelerate, I guess, with the Blink and stealing kills. He can do damage, but I guess maybe they won't need as many PL solutions. I forgot about the Earthshaker again, but
the Glimmer Cape should help KP a lot against this Willow, who on paper is kind of very good against him in the mid game with the Bedlam magic damage.
That's true. And even if he gets ruptured, if somebody else gets chain disabled, buy them some time.
Yeah, it's not just to save yourself, it's to save a teammate kind of feel to it. As mid lane Faith, we just saw him die here. I feel like this is
round 2.
Likely to happen again. Yep, round 2.
He does have a sentry.
Fissure is there. Faith, Bloodrite as well, needs to get out of it. Has the beetle on him though, so Ramsey should be able to chase him down. Gemini attack is there. There is a shrine being popped. Faith may be able to heal his way out of this one. No. And even the time lapse back as Finger going to bring down no one here. Newbee rotating in with numbers, and this is working out great for them. Roger can't quite find the Terrorizer. It looks like he may just have to leave solo to die here. S-Triple-C, can he get the root off on Pasha? Can't get it on the Shadow Realm hero, but could chase for more, and I believe he's going to get it. Gets the Searing Chains off. Is there anything to cancel Pasha's TP? There isn't, so smart play from the Bloodseeker.
And so far the Earthshaker has not felt effective to me. Got killed behind the tower. He's 2-2 and 4, so he's doing okay, but it definitely feels like it's hard for him to initiate, and when he gets gone on, he can't defend himself super easily either. He's like he's high HP, I guess, but it's still very nuanced. He needs to jump into grouped enemies and do some chain stuns, and it's going to matter at various stages, but for now it doesn't feel the best.
Well, I think VP have done an okay job just not fighting the Enchantress, but the problem is Enchantress is now coming to them, and that's where Newbee has started to see this game swing their way. Their most farmed hero is starting to have an impact, and as much as VP can ignore Enchantress during the laning stage and just send Bloodseeker there while playing aggressive in middle and bottom, they can't continue to do that when KP is running at them. And
yeah. And I mean, they're two big carries, or all three carries really. They need to right-click to do a lot of damage, and he's got so much untouchable that they just don't have a solution for that until they get maybe a Shadow Blade. But Pasha's queuing up a BKB after his Lincolns, or sorry, his Blade Mail, which I think is the right move. But they just aren't going to have a solution for Enchant for a long time.
This was a first pick Enchantress as well. Not to say they did like a bad job drafting against it, but they definitely didn't really say, okay, this Enchant's going to be a problem, let's counterpick it. It was more just like, let's pick heroes that are good. We're not hard counted by Ench, but we also can't really deal with an Ench that much. KP going to probably grab another Siege Creep here in the mid lane, so could look to start pressuring back another tower. But Bloodright, pretty annoying to push into.
Radiant are scanning.
They do a smoke rotation. They're looking for possibly a swap combo to kill him, but he's going to TP out to a different lane.
Good call.
Lead PL in the area. I mean, he's still such a hard kill. He's got the magic resistance talent. He's got the Glimmer Cape. How do they kill Enchantress?
They'd have to kill him before he gets the Glimmer Cape off, like with an instant Blink Echo.
Yeah,
like they could chain stun him and burst him down. Oh, Terrorize is going to get some additional stun here. If they got the damage with the Echo Slam, they will. No one had to commit it, but had the Arcane Rune, so...
Not as bad, but great catch though. He goes for the blink into Enchant Totem, I believe, gets the stun follow up, and then any stun that's followed up by Terrorize, that's a dead hero. Yep. Especially when you have mobility advantage like this. So really nice grab.
Can they defend this mid tier 1? Doesn't look like that's going to be the case as Newbee play the side lanes. Waiting on the PL Diffusal Blade perhaps before they take their next big engagement. They're probably just going to hope that KP and some of the others can do a bit on their own. And Kaka also close to Blink, so there's big items coming Newbee's way soon, whereas VP, a bit more ready to fight. They've already got that Blink on Shaker, they've got the Blade Mail on Bloodseeker. They're not really in farming mode right now.
Ooh, are they going to get the swap off? No, the vision's gone. Very close.
Kaka just TP'd into two enemy heroes at the shrine. They were there already waiting for him.
That was his escape top problem. He got Wave of Terror by the Venge. He juked into trees to TP. He barely made it out, and that is why he TP'd to a bad location.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking about where he's TPing. He's just like, I got to TP out.
Yes, and he was trying to be efficient doing it by not going back to Fountain. And in that place, if Kaka was a worse player, he would have lived.
Yeah. Same time, do you really want to waste a solo shrine for a support? He's close to Blink, so I guess he's thinking, like, I don't want to go back to base and waste time. I could be farming Blink.
Exactly. So it wasn't about the heal.
Efficiency.
He was full heal. It was no problem.
Okay.
Just wanted to escape as fast as possible while still getting something done on the map.
Yep. Well, TP's to his death, and that's going to delay his Blink Dagger, but already looking at a pretty good time considering he's a support, even if it's the 4-position line.
He's level 10. He's even got a wand, so he's not being that greedy. He's just getting a lot done. Faith has been sacrificing himself in a lot of ways, being the hero dying for these counter pushes, but also maxing out his aura as fast as possible, just so that there's less clarities being purchased on his cores, and that no matter what happens, they're pretty much just covered.
PL at top going to go in looking for the Venge kill, and without a TP, Solo is actually just dead here.
Wow. That's
it's getting a bit greedy, farming a lane, but hey, it's a 5-position Venge. Not the end of the world.
That was a lot of gold, though. 372 from Solo dying with against a team that's beating you, so definitely a good pickup. First Diffusal Blade shown. And
smoke was... I don't think that was spotted by this ward. It doesn't actually give vision where they smoked.
They spotted no one as well. He ran past the sentry ward, so if they've got detection, which they don't on Kaka.
They have a sentry on the Crystal Maiden who's TPing in. No one's still under the sentry ward, so they get the root on him, and they should be able to burst him down here. The Impale follow-up. No,
he walked out of it. There it is. They see him now.
Okay, walks into it. He walked out of it and back in, and they're just going to blow everything, making sure they get the kill. It's a big one at that, but bottom lane, Mugi gets caught and brought down. Terrorized used with the Rupture. Great synergy between these two spells. It's a combo we've seen a few times. Bloodseeker with the Willow, and PL Dunzo.
That was kind of crazy on the no one death. That they got him with the root, but he was just barely out of the sentry ward. I would have thought that it would have, I don't know, would have still been in the sentry detection.
Yeah, because how do you root him if he's actually, he should theoretically goes invis, but maybe there's like a ever so slight fade time or something.
Yeah, it must have been something like that. So either way, they get the kill on no one. It was with the Finger of Death, and that means he's going to get a Blink Dagger afterwards. So he's ready to go in terms of initiation. Should be able to help out these ganks a little bit easier.
Shaker going to just TP to the mid lane to push it out, while the rest of the team believe they're going Roshan here. They've got a lot of minus armor with the wave and the beetles. Nothing to scout that out. You have wards around there. Maybe you spot the wave or the beetles being summoned, but not the case. And Scan from the Dire sees where Newbee have rotated, so Roger knows this is coming, and they also know Roche is safe.
So look at the timing that VP did here. I mean, after watching so many games, it's obvious. Like every single time that bounties are coming up, a team gets organized and does something. But the way VP did it was they've got damage, they can do this. They get to the Roche pit about a minute before the bounty, knowing that by the time their opponents grab bounty runes, the Roche is almost dead and there's almost no way they can test it. So it's like they timed it a little early. That way, while the enemy team does a rotation for bounties, they waste their smoke. Yes, they get some bounty runes, but Aegis is far better. That was really cool timing for VP there.
That's actually, yeah, really clever. They're kind of, it's like playing one step ahead. It's like, you know, the meta right now is you smoke and fight at bounty runes. So you say, well, let's not do that. What actually is better than that? Taking a Roshan. We'll give up a couple bounty runes if we get a Roche out of it. And sure enough, they find themselves with an Aegis on Ramsey's Weaver now, and he's a happy camper.
Yeah, that's a guy that's definitely vulnerable, and he's going to go poke on Mugi a little bit, see if he can do some damage. But there's a lot of illusions here. Doesn't have that much mana either. This is a little dangerous.
Yeah, there's a Blink Dagger on Lion coming in from the north.
I mean, if they Frostbite him there and he gets mana burned instantly, the Aegis is gone. He's unlikely to have enough for Sakuchi, but he gets out just in time.
Okay. Safe for now. Well, are they going to look to delete this Aegis around mid? Looks like Kaka just going to blink his way down into the jungle as they swing towards bottom lane. This Willow's just been the hero to play in this off lane, keep this lane pushed out, and not really a very appetizing kill to go for. You kind of just think, oh, do we really want to go and commit spells to kill a Willow?
And sometimes it doesn't even work out if she gets the Shadow Realm off at the right time, or knows what disables you do have and plays around it, can be fine. The reason Ramses did do so fine in the mid lane is because this Observer was placed kind of between the tier 1, tier 2. The sentry they dropped didn't actually spot it, but they'll get this one top at least. So better vision kind of for VP in the places they're playing, but Newbee definitely has a later timing window, I think. They're happier to make this game go late, so if they can keep getting these wards and trading evenly, even though they're behind 3k, I think they should be alright going to late game.
Yep.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Things are definitely headed that direction here. We'll see how they do with these BKBs that are coming up soon as well. Bloodseeker and Weaver both almost completing theirs. Down bottom, Kaka gets silenced up, and he is in all kinds of trouble as he will get picked up on the retreat. Newbee not looking to take a fight around there. They're just looking to slow things down, and I think for Newbee themselves, they also kind of looking late game here. They've got the Boots Travel Ember. He's someone that's just going to keep on scaling, and all three of their cores theoretically are going to keep looking better and better as they get a few more items.
But they do still have to worry about a lot of things like the Earthshaker. Like, that was one of the reasons they picked it last. They needed somebody that could kill an Ember Spirit if he split pushes, and they don't have very good solutions outside of like a Terrorize. But now with the Earthshaker, they can just do Blink Echoes or Fissures into Blink Enchant Totems, start the chain stun, and guarantee those Ember kills that we saw earlier.
Yep.
A lot of the wards on Newbee's side as well, very about kind of controlling the bot lane, but not so much about taking the tier 1 tower. So losing that hero just there definitely made things harder. And now they're all mid, hitting buildings.
Yep. VP want this tier 2 tower. Ramses with an Aegis, kind of just frontlining here. Blink in, Impale Finger on Solo. That's not going to do anywhere near enough damage. And with the Terrorize back at mid, KP in trouble. Enchantress goes down. Couldn't effectively use any of his items. Didn't glimmer drums or anything. Ember also dies in the mix. Ramses with both those kills, and Pasha even finishing off Faith at the end.
Jeez.
Very nicely done by VP, who suddenly have a 6k gold lead and are going to poke onto the high ground here. Force a buyback from the Enchantress, and
they need Ember to slow this down, but he's dead for 20 seconds here.
PL can't really fight here. It's the Ember buyback that was maybe the one they needed. Ramsey's able to keep pressing forward. Not an easy thing to do to push high ground, though, so they are going to end up backing off.
I mean, that's the first death for Enchantress. He's forced to buy back in this moment. That's not where he wanted to be. But the team fight was so perfect from VP. It's very reminiscent of how they killed the Ember earlier. They just Blink Echoed to stun the back line. They ended up getting the Enchantress, and then they did a Terrorize follow-up. You'll see it here just in a second as they push forward.
Yep, here's the recap of that fight. So initially just hitting the tower, but...
And then here they go. They got a little grouped in this moment. Looks like they had some kind of vision, or at least The enchant talk or
There's
stunned.
the Blink Echo catches that one, and the Terrorize was what won them the fight, really.
Got the Ember as well, which is perfect.
Yep. You have these heroes that have these great escapes and can be so annoying and mobile, like the Ember with the Remnants, the Enchantress with just her heal, and the Glimmer Cape, and they don't get to use any of it.
Yeah.
A well-used Terrorize can just be one of the best disables in the game.
Radiant are scanning.
That's definitely what separates, you know, the good Willows from the great ones. We'll see Solo get picked off there.
That's absolutely true. He really wants to abuse all these bottle charges. He's got to wait
Back
for that
at
thing
top
to go
bounty
away.
rune, it's going to be PL. In some trouble here, Doppelganger, but still has the beetle on him, needs to kill it off. Does have the illusions to do so quickly. Mugi going to turn and fight. Wants to go on Pasha. He's BKB'd up. Mugi just holding his grounds here. Still fairly healthy as he does, once again, look for another Doppelganger away. Lion's already gone down here. He's being chased a little bit further. No one. He's got a Yule Scepter here. Can he find a way to get onto Mugi? Another Doppelganger in a couple of seconds. Gets to the low ground. Does he go for the TP? Doesn't think he can do it. No fissure available. Mugi's juking with the illusion, but he just kills the real one. Oh, they were not fooled.
Faith
Mugi
finally died. Ramses was chasing him
Oh,
that
wow.
whole fight. And I was thinking, like, oh man, Faith is going to make this crazy play and buy time for his team to do something good, but it was just PL running for his life and eventually dying. The tempo is just continuing from Virtus.pro here. They're getting a little kills on the enemy side of the map, and then they're just instantly hitting buildings. And it's kind of dangerous to do this because it's early, and those respawns are very low, but it's going to add up, and if they get a really big teamfight win, then it's going to be a really early Rax.
Even just some poke and prod forced Newbee to come back to defend. Last time it forced a buyback, so you never know what Newbee may panic themselves into doing in those situations. This time around, VP just fall back, take some ungathered bounty runes, and we'll wait for their next layer of items to be completed.
Solo's been doing a great job pushing lanes this game. Normally doesn't focus on it, but his other heroes are pretty important, so just with Wave of Terror and Vengeance Aura and this drum pickup that he's got, he's just getting more farm than usual, which is kind of nice for him. 10k gold advantage for VP right now. It's kind of starting to get a little out of hand. They're not letting up.
Yeah.
They're not letting the Ember and the PL get into this area where they're just really hard to kill. And it's really paying off now.
In the first 15 minutes, it was pretty even / Newbee favor. They're the ones who had like a 9-4 kill lead and a slight gold lead, but come mid-game, that's where VP have really shown up, and Newbee just haven't gotten value out of all of their cores. The Boots of Travel Rush has meant that SCCC, you know, it's a lot of money to invest in an item that just moves you around the map and doesn't actually allow you to fight all that well.
And so much of that one fight, it just came down to Terrorize, like you said. It's the difference, it's a separator for Dark Willow players that makes it really good. One stun into Terrorize is a one fight. It's a 4-second stun, essentially. It makes chain stunning easy. The fight just feels over.
Compare that to, I mean, Kaka, his impact as a ganker has been fantastic at certain stages of the game, but come those team fights, his presence is just so much more limited. He goes in with an Impale Finger combo and can't even kill off one hero. Blink, Echo, Airballs.
Yes,
Not
he
sure.
killed that small camp. I assume that was Ember Spirit jumping back, if I had to guess.
Right.
Or they just really didn't like those little harpies, dude. They're jumping in, looking for a kill because of that.
Coming out. Yep, there we go. BKB comes out just in time from Pasha.
Great Terrorize. Once again, Kaka goes down, and Mugi's back in. Solo gets cleaned up. CM ulti is doing some damage here. Can they follow up? Yes. Dark Willow likely to fall.
That's a good sign when there's a CM ult doing damage in a team fight, not being cancelled, not being kited away from, and VP losing 3 there. There's a good fight going Newbee's way, and definitely still potential for this PL to catch up and carry this game.
Yeah, definitely abusing the missed Echo Slam. I assume they saw or heard remnants of it, or maybe spotted their opponents, and Remnant dodged out in time, and that was both Weaver and the Earthshaker up there. So instantly they can go on the mid lane, and there just isn't as much threat. And they're going to try to get this tier 1 tower. This would be huge for them here. The glyph comes out. They got 15 seconds until all 3 heroes are up. They can take the tower right now. They don't have to deal with it later. This is their opportunity.
Yeah, they
A lot of bugs to kill, though.
going to have to deal with VP's fast respawn times themselves, though. We're still fairly early on in this game, and VP ready to go once again.
It's got a Shadow Blade. They catch him, though. The sentry's there.
BKB being used. Ramsey's very early on that one. Got a bit antsy, perhaps worried about Lion blinking in and disabling him because he doesn't have his Lincoln Sphere just yet, so.
No Finger of Death, but yeah, it's got to be scary, especially when SCC gets you from the low ground like that. And he also used Searing Chains on the Earthshaker as well, so you, not only do you know you're in a bad spot, but that guy that should be able to save you also can't go for a blink initiation. So dangerous moment, and Newbee getting a little ground in this push. They don't take the tower though, and ultimately that's what's important, especially when Ember Spirit's able to split push like this. If all the outer towers are dead, it's harder for VP to rotate around and set up to defend those as easily.
So VP may maintain most of their lead, as it's still about an 8,000 gold lead. And as for Newbee, happy to fall back a little bit and continue to get their next level of items. KP going for the Aeon Disc, which is also going to be accompanied by an Aeon Disc on SCCC, it looks like. And this is how you counter an Earthshaker. And perhaps one of the reasons this hero became less popular, because those Blink Echoes to stop split push don't work.
It's not a reliable stun unless you get a follow-up immediately afterwards. But against something like an Ember, where a tiny fraction of a second means he's jumping all the way back to base, it's not enough.
There's always a window to use your Fire Remnant as an Ember.
Pasha blinking forward. Looks like they want to fight. VP is more grouped here.
KP just running through the Rupture with the Aeon Disc, and
that was really useful, actually. Yeah. 2 whole seconds of gap escape here, and now he's running for his life.
There's a sentry there to scout him through the Glimmer, but Mugi now perhaps the new target, but he also gets out of there. So just losing a Crystal Maiden, despite what looked like a pretty decent VP engagement. That Blink Rupture onto KP was definitely the right idea to me, but Newbee have the answers with their items.
Yeah, the Aeon Disc was really helpful there. So a lot of sitting mid this game, actually. Kind of feels like I don't know if you see this. It happens a lot at low MMR games where it's like, well, I can see him across the river, so I should probably stand here. And then initiations are kind of hard, a lot of sitting around. But VP's going to be able to use this little pressure they got and the kill to take a Roche.
Yep. I've seen their lineup already. It really shines as far as being able to kill Roshan quickly and easily. Mostly Newbee playing in the side lanes. We've seen Mugi do some split push here and there. Same for the Ember. But VP seem most content to just keep on running down mid and trying to find some fights, find some kills, and take advantage of this decent-sized advantage of theirs.
I feel like another reason that that VP, at least solo, has been pushing lanes so much is because if you look at the Newbee side, they actually have a really bad lane push. It's basically Ember Spirit, amazing, but past that, Enchantress is awful at pushing lanes. Definitely one of her biggest weaknesses. Lion is not so good. CM can be good, but he's been prioritizing all these Frostbite levels so that he could have a good solution against the Weaver. So it's like nobody really pushes the lanes that well. So all it takes is a little Vengeful Spear, normally bad herself, and it just makes all this lane pressure, and all the towers are just always alive.
We've seen Newbee really struggle to bring those down, but right now they've got bigger issues, which is VP running at them in their base. They get a high ground ward for the push. They smoked in for this one, but didn't find any big kills. Perhaps bottom lane, though, is where they'll find SCCC. But with the Aeon Disc, I'm just not sure how they can get. They need to proc the Aeon Disc, but he already is Fire Remnant out of there.
Yeah, it'd have to be Earthshaker into some other follow-up. I think the only way to make that work is everybody throws their stuns at the same time, and one of them is going to proc the Aeon Disc and then
hope that he gets
one.
instantly stunned right after.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only one, other than something like Static Storm or some other ability that is interior.
What about Terrorize? Is that? I don't think that's dispellable. I don't actually know. Is Terrorize dispellable? It doesn't say on the. It doesn't say on the spell.
I assume it is. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a strong dispel that pretty much removes everything for the most part. Fear's a very good disable, but it's not like one of those ultra powerful ones. Just utility-wise, or its use is great. And they do go Mjolnir on Weaver as their PL partial solution.
Yep.
I think it's fine. Maybe not great against Ember, but
it's perhaps it's something at least. Yeah, they get the Sun in the Shadow Realm. He's going for a Terrorized. Doppelganger is there to make sure he doesn't get caught by it, and Mugi will finish off the kill. But here comes Ramses wanting that Kaka line. He's not got anything defensive to help him out there. No Ghost Scepters, Force Staffs, Glimmer Capes, whatever it may be. You need something at some point against this Weaver, but only able to farm up a Blink so far. Rupture going to catch KP once again, just runs on out with the Aeon Disc. He just keeps on running. Glimmer Cape, no TP. They have a vague idea of where he is, though, and KP swapped out. Rupture actually wore off, so he didn't take damage from the swap, but they'll still get the kill.
Yeah, BKB on Bloodseeker means he doesn't have to worry about Untouchable, and with the Weaver having the Mjolnir and all this general agility items, he actually attacks pretty fast now, and KP doesn't have the same invulnerability like before. Maybe if he has like a Force Staff or something to get more distance out of the Aeon Disc survivability, but yeah, it's actually working out against him if his team isn't there to back him up. Yep. With Lion dead, it's way too scary to initiate.
Yeah, VP have Aegis once again and are looking to poke and prod at the Newbee high ground. Newbee have been a very resilient team when it comes to defending, and definitely a team known for their great 5-man plays and just taking these games by defending their high ground.
Ramsey making a little mistake. They're attacking low ground to high ground, and they get a D-ward because of it.
Okay.
I'm sure that's one of those moments where you rage as a support.
Yeah, it's
Did
like
you
you
really
got.
need to attack them that extra time.
It's not that easy to get those high ground wards down. You have to do it either during nighttime or while smoked.
Yep, that's
And
exactly what he did.
they're so precious, so.
And we're doing a little split push here. It's going to spot out Solo. They've got a bounty rune in a couple seconds here.
Gets stunned up.
He will get it.
Yeah,
so.
this Triple C gets it and gets out of there. Still has the Aeon Disc, so wasn't really in any risk of losing his life there.
2 and 2. I do like what Solo's doing item-wise. He finished the drum earlier. He's got pipe now. Now he's queuing up Vlad's, just trying to make his whole team better at pushing and staying alive in some of these engagements. And considering the damage output of Newbee and the fact that they've had to spend so much on Aeon Discs, they actually are having some big damage problems.
Here comes the solution to these Aeon Discs. At least with the Ember Spirit, it's going to be a Hex. So Undispellable Hex, Bloodseeker, if you manage to blink Hex the Ember, he will not be able to fire Remnant out when it procs.
In trouble here. He doesn't actually have a TP.
Oh my.
And
He's got caught by the BO2, so they know which one's real. The Impale will land. The Terrorize follows it up. The Root Mugi. Oh no.
This might get a Dispel.
Okay. Yules doesn't hit the Cursed Crown. He actually
early.
messes up. I think the Cursed Crown. He wanted to try and make sure it lands, but instead the Yules threw him up in the air, and Mugi's still alive. Has the heart for a lot of extra health here. They chase down, bring down the Enchantress here. Another Yule Scepter coming out. They really want Mugi's PL. They caught him with the Totem as he landed, and they kill him without buyback. Oh my, that is bad news. And the Weaver kill is not going to matter too much for VP because they've got an Aegis on him. He's going to be respawning momentarily, and they could look to continue the push off of this.
Kaka is just playing next level right now. He's so fast at his mana drain Hex to save himself and at least burn the Aegis and just barely dodging that fissure as well. He's doing a good job, but it's hard to play line in games like this, where the team fight is just better on the enemy team, and they're also just so mobile. They've got so many items that they need to deal with the enemy team too, and because they've had this advantage, it's just been Newbee on the back foot for so long.
Well, going to continue to be the high ground defenders, it seems. S-Triple-C about to have has the money for the Mjolnir now if he wants to buy it, but does have to worry about the lack of buyback if he chooses to do so.
That's really scary because there's been so many knife edge team fights and high ground pushes that losing that would almost surely solidify the advantage that VP has. But I mean, also may happen in other ways, like Roshan being lost or him not split pushing fast enough, and Mjolnir would make a difference there, for example. And he's going to start moving out. He's got the Blink Dagger at least, so he can defend himself. But these other lanes, it just takes like 3 heroes to get this slightly pushed.
See the Enchantress using the ult to even try and push a little bit faster. No one trying to see what he can do, but he's going to pop out of the Shadow Blade. Has a BKB now. Solo looking for that swap initiation.
Or just to be initiated on. He knows he's the tanky guy. He's actually the pusher now. He's the tower hitter. He went agility.
Does decent damage, yeah.
I mean, if he gets initiated on, he's got 24 armor. He can pop a pipe, can use a wand, can throw his stuns. It's a good way to play the hero this
Probably
game.
telling his Willow, stop buying some wards. I'm hitting stuff. This is a great game for me. And
queuing up a Helm of the Dominator next. It's a lot cheaper than
all
buying
the
cells.
ores. There we go. So the high ground VP look to go. Just poking and prodding for now. Waiting for an opening perhaps as Newbee once again get forced to come back and defend. Dire scan just over the trees on the left, trying to see what they can find.
They're going to lose this Observer ward. Probably, or it's like a Sentry de-warded. Okay, they do get it. Yep.
PL getting the last hit for that one, and Pasha with the Hex completed. We'll see what he can do or find off of this. Newbee
Really
vision right on top of them on the hill, though. That has not been de-warded. The Sansheng warding guide paying off.
It basically seems like they ran out of sentries. This is certainly one of the things that happens when a player like Solo does spend this much money on actual items, that you're going to go to a push like this, you're going to run out of sentries, and all of a sudden you lose advantage. If they had a sentry, they de-ward that sent first before their ward dies, and then they can de-ward the cliff ward too, because they know that their opponents have vision to find that ward in the first place. But instead now they have to back up and go hit creeps for a moment as they regain map control. So bit of a moderate mistake there. But, you know, once in a while, Solo wants some items. I don't blame him.
You know, forget wards. I've got a headdress now. I'm good, he says.
That will change the game.
Dire Vision still has, I mean, throughout the game, VP have had good vision. These lane wards, they're very aggressive with the way they play the game. And the wards have definitely supported it, but we'll see how they handle this next push. Once again, they are pressing forward. They don't even seem to care they don't have an Aegis. In fact, they've got a DD rune on Weaver. He sneaks his nose into the bottom lane, and nothing here to defend this. Maybe, let's say, you probably just want to glyph this, because He was just going to keep on right-clicking if you weren't careful there, and he also might just go right back in.
I don't know if that top ward spotted him or not, but that was just the perfect time for VP to do this maneuver.
Yep.
They're ready to
BKB,
swing
he's just going to go straight for the tower. Actually finds a new target in the Lion, but with the Ghost Scepter, he can't finish off the kill. Tier 3 claim. They get the stuns coming out. Lion gets two-shotted by a fissure into Totem, and Weaver forced to be swapped away. He doesn't have a BKB, and it was a smart call by Solo that Weaver, if he got Initiate on there and bursted, it would have been a big loss for VP.
They're doing such a good job just spending as many resources are needed. Pop the BKB,
Ooh.
take the tower, go for the easy Lion kill. That buys them another like 45 seconds out on the map. They're just...
It also buys him another
doing
DD
so much.
rune. We hit that 40-minute mark where we start getting double runes, and Ramsey's going to get an Arcane and probably bottle the DD up top. Potentially could use it for Roshan, which is respawning in 10 seconds time.
That's a really early one, if I'm not mistaken. Bugs are going to catch Faith, actually.
Oh.
They know where he is.
He's like, I'm going to deny this DD.
He's got to be careful here.
Yeah, Pash actually had to pick it up just to stop Book because he knew it was going to get denied in a second. Faith goes invis with the Glimmer Cape. Will be kept alive as... believe Newbee actually scouted that Roche had respawned with that Shard Golem. Ramses himself will scout it out as well.
And they just kill this thing so fast with Blood Rage and all the minus armor they have. So Newbee has to get on the map, get a kill somewhere. They pop a smoke sitting behind Mugi, trying to wrap a bit. Keep the high ground advantage, but you know VP's also going to know about this.
Well, Solo says, forget buying wards, I'll just buy a gem for my team. That's, you know, easier. Gives it to the Weaver, as Radiant do scan VP farming this Ancient Camp. It's just the Venge, though. I don't actually know.
He's a 5.
It's a big win for them.
Very strong 5.
Yep, 11k net worth.
I mean, they might as well buff him up, you know? It's to make the high ground easier. That's the issue with a hero like Earthshaker as a core, is that he's not going to be able to have this team fight longevity thing. He's like he jumps in, casts spells, jumps out, jumps back in, casts spells. He's not going to be able to hit buildings. They need something else to make this overall push go farther than just popping BKBs on a Weaver and a Bloodseeker. And they're playing around it so well.
Yep. Well, to the Roche Pit, VP go, but Newbee already nearby. Can they contest this one? Dire Vision not great around the pit, so they may be a little bit hesitant to commit to Roshan, given that they don't see all too much.
They're going to be able to push out the top lane with a single Manta Illusion from the PL, though. That's a lot of gold for him. He's 4,500 in the bank, thinking about going Basher, thinking about getting an Abyssal Blade. Could be a great way to secure some crucial Weaver kills or other cores.
VP, just like playing in hard mode, no one wants to buy wards.
They actually are. They have no sentries? Is this real?
Yeah, no one's buying orbs, no one's buying sentries. I'm just, you know, it's like they want to challenge themselves in some ways here.
Well, they get the fissure block down. Yeah. Kaka is in the middle of nowhere, very dead hero.
He's in trouble.
It's a sacrifice.
Yep. Newbee are going to cut their losses and back out and say, that is not a Roche we can take.
It's so hard to fight into that, though. They put Bramble Maze at the opening of the Roche, or the ramp going down to the Roche pit, and now they're just going to go high ground. So, once again, sentries or not, they're being outmaneuvered.
All right, Solo, who buys those 3 wards in stock that he has coming out on the courier. So, finally said, okay, let's get some wards for the team. As you can see there, the win probability, 80% for VP, is starting to feel
in trouble.
A lot higher than 8%. The swap into the Hex, the Aeon Disc comes out. They couldn't proc it fast enough, so by the time they procced it, the Hex had actually worn off. So, not quite the initiation they were hoping for. Ramsey on the front lines has an Aegis, taking quite a bit of damage from the Enchantress, and this is the VP woes. Pushing high ground is just so damn difficult.
They've got quite a few heals, but that was their last Spirit Vessel, actually, so no more heals after this. Ramsey's going to get really low, actually, down to 300 health. And maybe regretting he didn't buy a heart instead of a Scotty, but...
give him the Blood Rage. Heal off the creeps.
Or you can't heal from illusions either, so... Yeah.
For the creep wave, though, he could.
Well, they do get the talent for Vengeful Spirit at least, so they're pumping out 60% damage amplification. Good 60% extra damage for everybody.
Good heads-up play, though. They do give it to him and let him clear the creep wave. It got him back 1,500 health almost. Does get Hex on the high ground here. Should still be okay. Terrorize going to catch a couple, and this is just being used to hit the melee racks here.
No glyph.
Not the longest of cooldowns. 60 seconds without the Terrorize, though, and they feel like they just need to prioritize buildings. And
okay.
Right. Focus down, brought back. Weaver needs to be careful. No timeless. Does it. BKB has to pop it immediately. Does do so. Is he going to finish the racks, or is he going to go for the heroes? Takes the melee racks. Forward goes the Earthshaker. Refreshes as well. Used one Echo Slime. Has a second if he needs it. PL is there, but the problem is this PL is going to push him back, and Earthshaker getting very low in the process. Solo doing what he can, but is going to go down as well as Roger. The chase is on. Ember ball back. He goes straight into a Hex. He doesn't have the Aeon Disc. As Triple C Oh no, what are you thinking? And right on cue, Roger's there. Gives them the whatever it is, the
It's the moment they've been waiting for all game.
Yes.
Is finally a big team fight win. They got more out of their opponents than their opponents got out of them. I mean, it's a barracks, it's a melee barracks, but they killed Ramses very easily twice in a row. They got 2 pickoffs. They felt like they could chase and catch more. And if he does get those disables, that's a crucial moment. But he gets disabled, didn't have his Aeon disc, and that was his dieback.
Ramses is running in mid.
Oh, that was so close. That was Basher right there. He's thinking, oh, no line, easy, right? Nope, Basher's here, man.
Bash. Oh, jeez.
That was so
very,
close.
very, very close.
It might have been on cooldown for the follow-up, so there's probably no way they get that kill outside of a little bit more damage, but he's going to know about that Basher now. Definitely something to worry about.
Just the bottom racks. We'll take another look at that fight here. Bit of a chaotic one. The Weaver loses his first life pretty quickly with time-lapse on cooldown, but has the BKB. And then it's Shaker who goes charging forward. BKB runs in, Echo Slam for the Lion. It was definitely not the perfect, beautiful execution that you sometimes come to expect from VP, but it got the job done. It got a melee racks, and they had to feed away their supports to get out of there, which kind of speaks to the fact they did not play that push that well, but part of it that is because it's so hard to push high ground against this lineup.
It felt like such a good moment to chase, but Pasha's Hex was ready, and they're able to get the kill. But VP just feels like they always know who to target for what are the problem heroes, and it's always going for Lion. Like multiple fights in a row, no one is aiming for that guy because he knows that if Lion's dead, then Weaver has a much easier time, as we saw in the previous fight. So he's popping BKBs to offset that one support hero, but once that guy's dead and his BKB runs out, he needs to leave the lane anyway. So he always has to walk out afterwards. Definitely seeing the limitations of Earthshaker a bit, but he has done his job.
Yep. He's going to have a Lincoln's Egg, so this is maybe something additional to even pop on the Weaver. It doesn't even necessarily have to be for himself.
Weaver, by the way, picking up a new item. Just a simple green sword for the evasion. But it's the right move. It's going to give him evasion against the Basher, against those hits. So less likely he gets hit there. And as a whole, a lot of right-click on the enemy team, including Enchantress. So this is a really value Butterfly.
Yeah. It's a great pickup. He's got a DD rune that is going to pop and swap in the Butterfly. This top lane is going to melt pretty quickly, I feel. Does just go for the BKB. I think they're just sick of Newbee defending high ground, so they're going to commit things like the BKB just to hit buildings. Unfortunately, there's a glyph for him, so he's not going to quite get the damage he wanted on it, but hey, some siege creeps will help out.
Catapult's good, killing buildings, but even so far, the Butterfly has shown huge difference in increasing their survivability. SEC also didn't go for True Strike, picked up Spell Amp, the right thing to do at the time, but now might be a little bit worried about it. But they can't quite blow up Weaver anymore. And with all the auras on Venge, if he just sits behind the Weaver, Weaver's going to get healed rapidly. He can swap him out if he's in danger, and his window for staying alive is so much higher. So I think it's looking really good for VP. It's a 29k gold advantage. The game is still close, though, because if Newbee wins a big team fight, they could absolutely get back in this game.
And I think VP recognizing that, that's partly why their approach is, let's just chip at these buildings. Weaver go in,
bottom.
BKB hit. Oh, okay. Not able to
That was Aeon Disc. Yep.
get quite what they wanted to do to kill him.
Out of there very fast. Fissure was a moment away, but gets out in time.
Yeah,
Faith,
so
maybe?
I mean, theoretically, what you want to do is just blink echo him as you like hex him and then instantly blink echo, so you pop the Aeon Disc and then you stun him again before he can fire on it because he's still hexed. So I think if they execute that gank, they definitely can kill SCCC.
Absolutely. Just got to do the damage a little faster. Maybe if you had Enchant ready or something.
Yeah, or yeah, you get a big totem instantly, but
it's a nice pickup by KP there on the mid lane. They kind of got initiated on, but it wasn't a full committal, and he just threw a couple hits at the Venge. Venge's armor is really high. He's got tons of regen, but pure damage is still going to cut through him rapidly, and they were able to get the kill. So finally some ground for a Newbee is what it feels like. It doesn't happen often, but it happened there. Did you see Pasha's item? It's got an Octarine core. It's very bizarre.
Well, once that lower cooldown hex.
Yeah, it's 16.5 seconds, 52 on his Black King bar. Maybe he goes Ags or something. I don't know.
With Bloodright cooldown, it's going to have an insanely low cooldown.
That's a good point. 4.5 out of 6 seconds.
That's something.
So what happens when you get silenced twice? Does that count as a stun or something like that?
It should. The double silence.
That's a terrible joke. So most people are maybe not going to get that, but it's still good. Clears creep waves. 315 pure damage that he can amplify by 40%. So very good way to do damage. Very weird way to play Bloodseeker, but in reality, was he going to be able to go up against a PL and try to outcarry him? No. So instead he's playing this like utility role, and it could work really well.
Yeah, the Radiance, Mjolnir, whatever is okay, but also the other thing is that it's not just the PL who's a problem. It feels like the Ember, catching the Ember is maybe a bigger problem. It's very much, you know, recognizing which heroes aren't, you know, at least somewhat under control, and then find the one and address the ones that aren't.
Newbee might get caught here. They are moving
they're-
across the map. They've got wards in
Smoke
good
pop.
spot. They got vision. Great stun from Kaka though.
Catches both supports, and immediately the Impetus should finish off the Venge here. The Terrorize comes out, Lion goes down here, but the rest of the Newbie side in OK shape until the Echo Slam
Peel in trouble.
comes out on the PL. The PL will get completely destroyed by this. Has buyback, but doesn't want to just throw it away immediately as KP will get finished off as well. That's a gem. And Newbie, despite having the high ground there and popping the smoke and being positioned okay, they just don't have the firepower.
It looked really good for them, but there's so many BKBs as well. Ember basically does no damage when people have their BKBs active. PL had to kind of wait that one out, but eventually he got spotted and chain stunned, and his HP got really lowered. But he needs to play on the edges of these battles, but it's hard.
It
He
feels
gets
like
caught, he's dead.
Yeah, the PL is just really struggling to have a game against these
The
Echo
Abyssal.
Slams.
They get him.
Gets a Weaver. Will he buy back or something for this? Theoretically, if they see a good opening, they may consider it, but Shaker doesn't have
He's
his
got blink.
ultimate, so...
Dark Willow gets out with a long-range blink, and still very good for Newbie. I guess they had some buybacks, right?
They had 2 on Enchantress and PL.
Okay, so that part's certainly very dangerous. But
Yeah. And that's why I think VP are happy just to fall back and not buy back the Weaver. He could have theoretically re-engaged, buy back, time-lapse in your full health, and go for it, but that would have been very high risk.
And Newbie was kind of praying there that they'd get the instant Roche respawn. If they got a little lucky, this could have been a timing they can exploit, but instead going to be forced to play safer here.
Yep.
No one's still looking for an easy kill. The Faith could easily get picked up, actually. They're going to terrorize him.
Catch him with the Fissure into Totem. The Fear's still on top of him, and
Now it
Roger will
goes
finish off the kill.
kind of the other way now, because Roche will be up in about 122, so just a little, about the same time that CM comes up, actually. So if Newbie can get these lanes pushed out and they can get a little control around Roche, they absolutely can contest this, but their track record so far this game is not good. And even pushing out lanes is still a huge uphill battle for Ember Spirit.
And it's something VP have proven to be pretty damn good at with the Blood Ride and even things like Willow Bedlam. Shaker can just quickly clear waves, so very hard for Newbie to contest Roche when they have to keep on addressing the lane equilibrium. They do snipe the DD rune, so taking that away from the Weaver and getting on the PL. It would have been even better if he did have a Roche to kill with it, but not the end of the world. He's buying a Moonshot. More bashes, I guess. And what, night vision, you know, this is one of those items which has been buffed so much. I'm sure it's going to be like OP at some point soon. Maybe it already is, and just no one's buying it.
I mean, it is kind of a 400 night vision is insane. That's 50% more vision at nighttime, and they're gonna find Solo. Actually, this looks pretty bad for him, but his whole team's here.
KP gets the Hurricane Pike, pushes them back. There's going to be the Blink Echo Slam coming out, catches 2 Kaka. Aeon Disproc, so keeps him alive a little bit longer, just trying to use all his spells before he goes down. Succeeds in doing so. The PL needs to get in there, does get on top of the Venge. Solo getting very low here. There's no more Echo Slam to deal with this Phantom Lancer. Illusions absolutely everywhere. Moogie, luckily his DD's one off. The no one Fissure catches a lot. Now comes out the Hex. They've caught the PL. He's hexed up. He's got no escape. He's dead, as is the Enchantress. The buyback from SCCC is nice, but it's too little too late. They've lost their cause, and they do not have buyback. It should be the end for Newbie, unless SCCC can do something miraculous, and I just don't think he has it in the tank.
They're high ground. They're all alive, and so many dead heroes means minimum mid racks, probably bot racks, probably top racks, and
probably GG.
The Ember of today, you have to buy so many defensive items to be effective. Like Aeon Disc was good for the hero, but in the same vein, offensive ganking items are also just better.
Yep.
So it's like you have to just buy all these items that mean that you don't scale damage-wise. You're kind of like a utility guy, and he just never really was able to contribute enough to these team fights.
Well, it was a drawn-out victory for VP, but in some ways looked comfortable at all stages. They never really lost or threw away much of their lead. There was like 1 or 2 times where, oh, that hero got, you know, picked off or killed, like the Weaver when the Basher came out, but it looked convincing.
Yeah, it did, and it just looked like it was way harder for Newbee to get done what they needed to. Like once VP had BKBs on so many of their heroes, yes, they have line disables, but it was BKBs and it was Lincolns and it was just overwhelming map control for the whole game, which just led to them having more items and very difficult to play against. So it's like they just kept covering their bases. It just seemed like a team that was fully in control, knowing exactly what they needed to do every fight. They executed it well. They didn't make mistakes, and they edged every little win. These guys really want to win TI.
Yeah, they're playing well, and I think that's kind of victory you can walk away from and feel pretty good about it. It's not like VP played the 10 out of 10 Dota, but you do everything right strategically. You're on point. Draft-wise, you had the answers. Great last pick Shaker. I mean, just having that answer to a PL made such a difference this game.
And the Ember is so important for making sure that he couldn't just go crazy split pushing. Because if that Earthshaker's not in the game, he would just constantly split push. He would add way more items, way more farm, way more damage.
And that's the thing. We didn't see that crazy mid-Shaker flashy performance perhaps we were hyped up to see when the Shaker pick came out. But it changed the game because it would have looked very different. Could SCCC split push more? Could Mugi... He couldn't fight because there's a Shaker. If there's no Shaker in this game, he would have been fighting and getting involved way earlier because there's just no AoE except a Maelstrom to deal with him. He's not scared of that. He's scared of an Echo Slam, though, so he farmed and tried to play around the jungle, and that's just not going to win you the game.
Yeah, and on the other side of the coin, Enchantress stomped the laning stage, but in the mid game was countered a few times and just couldn't push lanes. It was really cool when Newbee tried to do. They had some good things going for them, but VP got the right pick, and they played it right.
Okay, well, we're going to have a game 2. We're going to take a break and bring you guys VP versus Newbee, game number 2, after this. And we're back now for our second game where Newbee are trying to fight for a way in the winner bracket. They came into this series with an alright 5-5 record, but some tough matches ahead of them which they need to start getting some wins. You said, they'd probably be happy with the draw out of this, so it's not game 1, it needs to be game 2.
And I think they did a pretty good job considering what they had. They won one of their lanes. Their safe lane went kind of mediocre. It's just like Virtus.pro was collecting advantages in small amounts for the entire game, for the entire 40 to 50 minute game, whatever that was. Just every minute that goes by, VP always gets a little bit more than their opponents, and it added up to something massive in the end. And it always felt like Newbee could come back because there was never those big, like, wow, they lost a big fight, Newbee's really behind. It just kept adding up. So it does show some really good things for both teams, that VP never really overextended, that Newbee never really got themselves into a super awful situation. It's just they need to be able to gain some of that ground as the game continues.
Yeah, so the adjustments is maybe playing stronger early game, better lanes then, so you just don't fall behind at the start, or what would you say?
The easiest thing I'd say is that maybe, yes, you stomp the lane with Enchantress, but it's not a hero that transitions into the mid and late game super well, unless you have a team, unless you can sit back and just toss impetuses. And you can usually do that, but it was kind of hard to win team fights with the heroes they had against what they were up against, I would say. And I also think that the way that VP plays Dark Willow is something that is just so hard to play. And it's not necessarily how they play it, I guess. Like, there's a lot of good Dark Willow players, but think about what she offers. It's not necessarily that Terrorize is OP or Bedlam is OP. It's the fact that you're mentioning a lot of carries right now are these, like, heroes that want to stay alive, like Weavers, and there's Storm Spirits sometimes, and stuff like that, and PLs. If you stun those heroes once and you have Terrorize, that guy is dead almost every time, and it takes one hero's ultimate, and he has the damage to back it up. So he's like a +1 support. That means you can kill any hero in the game pretty much.
Yep.
And normally it's like, oh well, we have to pick Lions and another stun and have a core, and that's a 3-man gank. That's so much easier to do, and it's so much more efficient. I think that's why VP is trying to abuse this hero.
Well, VP, they are going to try and abuse it again. They pick it first 2 once more in response to the Enchantress. Bans, I want to say, are the same. I don't actually remember, but these 6 heroes were not picked and played in game 1, and they won't be picked and played in game number 2. While we're going to see 3 similar picks, different order though. VP had Dark Willow with someone else first 2.
Was it? I feel like it was Weaver.
Maybe
in
it
the
was
first
Weaver.
phase.
And
this looks like the same opening.
Stick to the line.
I think it's the same opening, if I'm not mistaken. We ended up seeing a Bloodseeker as a 3rd pick to react to the Enchantress from VP. I feel like this is the same opening. Not 100%, but I mean, same hero so far.
I want to say they got the Bloodseeker first 2 last game, but I actually don't recall 100%. For some reason, I just think the Weaver came late. I may be just, I'm like crazy sauce.
I'm like 80% sure that Bloodseeker was a 3rd pick.
All right.
Not I'm pretty sure they're the same picks.
I believe that then.
Either way, so what's cool about this is not only is it same heroes, we're also same sides. Is the pick order the same, though? It must be, right? Because Enchant was the first pick. So both teams are happy with what they have, and in so many different ways. So let's see what the subtle alterations are. Newbee's going to ban Bloodseeker in the 2nd phase, thinking that was one of the problem heroes. Rupture was definitely an issue for Enchantress, where normally she would probably be able to run away and do whatever she wanted in those mid-game fights. She ended up getting shut down once, had to buy back. That was a pretty crucial fight. And she can probably abuse other carries so much more, because Bloodseeker can just out-heal kind of some of that harass that Enchantress throws out.
Well, they can also ban out the Venge, so they take out 2 familiar picks from the last game on the VP side, whereas VP aren't too afraid of the rest of Newbee's draft. So they're going to target Avoid, something that Mugi has played from time to time, and leave the rest of the pool still available for now, although they still have 1 ban remaining.
I think I'm a little happy. He doesn't always throw the best Chronospheres. They hurt me a little bit, but it is a very good hero against Weaver. And Dark Willow, too, if you think about it. If you can catch her without her Shadow Realm being used. Pugna ban from VP, that could have been another way they go for a push here. And they're just going to grab a strong trading hero and laning hero out of Bane. Kind of similar to what Venge does, in that just strong ultimates helps you secure kills. But Venge is definitely more of a pusher. And lane saver, but being kind of similar. Nightmare, you can at least buy a 2nd. It can help interrupt some chain stuns to save your Weaver, but not as effective, so it should be better for Weaver, or for a Newbee, to end up killing the Weaver when they gank him.
Yeah, so something we've seen VP really prioritize the saves, and something Solo has played a lot of this Bane, these Nightmare saves. He is one of the better players at doing it, although I think a lot of other players have also learned from him, because even just yesterday we're seeing Nightmare saves coming out all over the place. No longer just a setup for your arrows. This spell is a lot more dynamic than that.
And VP's maybe the team I'd point to is like, these guys got Bane nerfed. I mean, he was like an every pick hero, or every single game pick hero for VP, and it kind of just went tournament after tournament after tournament. It's like they nerf Brain Sap, and they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to get 2 Enfeebles at the start of the game. And then they're like, okay, I guess we have to nerf that skill also. So it's all Bane just across the board has become a little bit worse every time. And Newbee, again, same stuff. They like what they have. It makes their laning stage good. I guess they're
saying they just played it poorly, I guess, or...
In the Bloodseeker and the Venge, I think that kind of... I mean, what did they ban last time there? I would think it was Ursa and Alchemist, I believe. So they give up on the Alch and the Ursa bans.
That sounds right, yeah.
Deciding the BS and the Venge is more important. I kind of agree with that.
I wasn't that impressed by the Bloodseeker. I mean, he was against the Edge. He was the hero they sent to get destroyed by an Enchantress, which is... obviously going to happen. Yeah, he sort of did. Didn't have a good game. Later on, he was pretty impactful. His Hex was great, but, you know, any hero that can farm a Hex can use a Hex. That wasn't like a Bloodseeker exclusive thing.
I was just impressed by the amount of items he had, despite having a rough early game. A lot of times, Bloodseeker will feel like he's a dead hero, but maybe just part of VP's game sense, always knowing where the enemy team is, not taking any bad fights. So he just always felt like, okay, I know when I can farm, and I know when I need to be with the team, and therefore he can maximize more gold than the average player.
Yeah. I do feel like... the Enchantress for Newbee, I'm not sold on. I think KP showed he's a great Enchantress player, but it's not enough to just have a player who's going to hero. You need to have a team that understands how to play around it, because Newbee really showed they lacked that team fight presence, which means you have to play Dota very differently. And Newbee's always been a team that loves to group up as 5, loves to, you know, go and force towers, force Roches, and just take team fights. And that's not a kind of playstyle that suits Enchantress necessarily.
That's true, but she does pretty reliably win her lane. Man, they are actually so happy with what they had before. But with them picking CM third, it looks to me like it's all about lanes, right? They've got an Enchantress, all about winning the laning stage. Like it seems almost like you pick Enchantress, and pretty much no matter what happens, you're going to kill the enemy tower when the catapult spawns. That's what it seems like. We've seen that like every single time we see an Enchantress. Steal catapult, push the wave, take the tower. There's nothing they can do. So that will open the map in one way. With CM, it's another laning hero. Pump aura, mana into everybody in the lanes. Those other lanes should do better. They should farm better. And then they should be able to take that and push it farther, was maybe what Newbee was hoping to do. VP didn't let them get that advantage last game. But PL will also secure late game. That will help offset some of the lackings in Enchant as a hard carry. But I like her against Dragon Knight. That looks pretty good. I like her against Weaver most of the time. I think it still can work here.
And they're going to ban the Shaker. Look at that meme ban.
Is that a meme? It's got it.
It's 100%. Because they need a mid. They're not playing Techies mid.
You never know, man.
They're just that's VP. You know, that clip of them laughing, well, I think it was Epicenter, one of the tournaments, where it's just like they bang on the desk, they're laughing. They're doing that right now. They're just like, these guys are picking the same 4 heroes against each other.
Look at that icon. He's looking right at us. You know, he's just smiling like, aha. That's
VP are saying, you know, we want something more fun, guys. Like, why are you picking the same 4 heroes? That's not fun for us. We're going to beat the same 4 heroes. At least pick something different.
So what do you think about this Lina instead of an Ember Spirit? Does it do something that makes this all worthwhile? So set up for Weaver, I guess?
Ember Storm are not going to be as good this game just because of the lockdown that DK, Bane provide. Like, it's not a game where you can take advantage of VP's lack of disable, because they have plenty of disable and they also have a counter pick. So I think it was just a more stable mid laner that gives them some good burst damage, some good playmaking potential, something that the Ench and the PL don't really provide.
Okay, and he's got to outlane a Alchemist, or at least make sure Alchemist doesn't get out of control. And considering that Newbee has good lane dominators, if they can win their lanes and push that into map pressure, then yes, Alchemist can get shut down. But considering it's a PL and CM and line are both kind of squishy, it just doesn't feel super safe to me. But depending on how fast SCCC can get his Yule Scepter, maybe they can end up slowing down no one and making this game go along.
Yeah, so I guess the Alch gives you an answer to the PL this time around, since there's no Shaker in the pool. It is a very different playstyle. The Shaker kind of more that fighting, team fight heavy one, whereas the Alch is like the carry that can match up well and deal with the PL.
Worst case, he could get the cleave talent at 20, even though the stun one is so... No, that's just a stun is enough to probably kill PL illusions. So,
yeah, you can use that on illusions themselves. So.
But in some ways, they swindled their opponents slightly by picking Dragon Knight 4th, thinking this is our mid-hero, and then they end up picking a different mid-hero late, making Pasha play the DK. So DK matching up in this game, though, doesn't feel amazing against PL unless you get the jump on your opponents, but it does feel pretty good against CM and Line. His HP's high, his armor's high, so killing him's going to be a little bit harder. Kind of feels like he's going to be a little gimp this game, but if he gets like a hood or something, he'll be fine.
Yep. So here we go. Important game for Newbee particularly. VP not guaranteed top 4, but pretty close to it, which would put them in the winner bracket of the main event. I'm sure they would like a higher seed if possible, and also, you know, all these games, any wins you can get just going to help build up your confidence going to the main event. And VP, definitely I feel like more so than others, maybe a team that needs to be playing confidently. They're an aggressive team. They're a team that have underperformed historically at the International, and I think that is just not a place they want to be in at, where they're kind of going into the main event as like a 4th seed and they had a rough group stage.
It's not unknown territory for a Newbee, though, at least. So, and maybe this is one of their next solution against the Enchantress. Put a Dragon Knight in the lane. Like Bloodseeker, very tanky, but in this game, he's going to have a harder time. Now, they did see the Observer Ward. Look at Noah taunting all the way, and he knows there's an Observer Ward here. This was what was kind of cool what they did. They put they basically ran Sakuchi Weaver mid to place the Observer Ward, and as a result, they got there first, and because of that, they ended up seeing the enemies placing their ward first. And that was even Enchantress running mid. That's a fast hero, but not as fast as a Sakuchi Weaver. So he gets a free D ward, he gets a 4th of a level, and he starts off with some really nice gold.
Very well done, as the early game start is already looking pretty good for them. We'll see how many bounty runes going to be. It's going to be 2 apiece, nothing crazy, and that's, you know, that's par for the course. You're happy with that. If you've got an Alchemist and you get 2 out of the 4 bounty runes, that's decent. We saw 3 out of 4 yesterday with an Alch team, which was kind of crazy, but that is definitely the outlier.
So fly out a circlet eventually with a salve. Once his support stop hogging the courier. Throw fast Aquila to increase his armor, his mana regen, all that good stuff.
And the support's up to. They brought out a sentry, it looks like. No one actually bought the sentry and sent it bottom with his early game D-ward money.
Okay, sent them a second follow-up one, I guess.
Yeah, wants to block the pull camp, so...
And they do. Kaka also has a sentry, so he should be able to D-ward this if he spots it later, but by the time that he does, it might be too late for the first pull.
So you can see the 3 lanes there. It is going to be Enchantress this time playing in the safe lane, not the off lane, giving the PL what looks to be a very easy lane for him to farm in up top.
Yeah,
the CM supporting especially.
This is the way to do it, because if you put a Enchantress against this lane that's slightly scary, and against heroes that actually aren't that survivable from range damage, then it's going to allow Enchantress to get the best of both worlds. And on the opposite side, then a PL just gets to do whatever the heck he wants against a Dragon Knight. He doesn't care that he can't necessarily out-harass him. He just wants to win the lane really hard.
Kaka going to use his sentry for the lane itself. He gets hit by the Bramble Maze, and he's just dead. That damage output, I don't know if he was expecting 3 heroes there. Roger had been hiding in the trees for some time, and Roger then gets the pull as well. So really good play down bottom. This is, if you're going to aggro trail like this, you have to use the pull. And they didn't really want to aggro trail in an Enchantress. The problem is you can't really TP rotate your lanes because your opponents will just do the same thing. So you kind of have to commit to these lanes. So VP... not happy with the lane matchups, perhaps, but are going to make the best out of it.
Yeah, and because they block the small camp, they can't pull on the other side to try to offset this. So as long as VP can get these pulls going, it's going to be a bad time for them.
Yep.
So a little stun, some damage on solo here. He's got tangos, and Brain Sap can always flow out as well.
Careful about those brambles. Doing a lot of damage at level 1 as KP trying to come back in to get some of these last hits, but a lot of denies going the way of VP with the neutral camp there.
Back on the mid lane, SCCC is doing pretty well, 15-3, but no one is still catching farm. 12 last hits for him, and he's actually going to spot the Arcane Rune first before the Lina does. SC is going to be, I'm sure, a little disappointed about that. Could really helped his lane.
And he's got the bottle coming out, so I think he was hoping that the 2-minute rune would still be there for his bottle, but not going to be the case.
Oh, either way, it's not the best thing for no one to have more acid sprays, but
no, it's...
Sure,
you're not worried too much about the Arcane Rune.
Stun.
Oh, he's got mangoes too. He's going for this kill. It looks
gets
like
a stun?
He went for a point of this. There's another Dragon Slave here. No one. He's going to be very close to going down. The right clicks just aren't quite there, but there's a CM. Hello, says Faith. I'll take this one.
Ooh, I thought he lost that one because the Observer Ward losing high ground vision. The mischance helped as well, but great rotation there by Faith. Hits a great timing. I mean, by the time I started looking at SCC, he was doing a great job pressuring the Alch, and that's sometimes something that gets lost. You know, you want to be there at the right time, but sometimes you just aren't there. You don't always know when SCC is going to do really well, but that lead up to that, maybe helping Faith rotate over and know it's a good time to gank.
And it was definitely good timing for that courier to come out with the bottle and double mangoes because he was running out of spells, and I think that's why no one thought he was safe because he could see the man on the Lina kind of low, but suddenly there's bottle charges and mangoes, not quite the safe lane you once thought it was.
But interestingly, he picked up the unstable concoction level. Very often that's delayed, but I guess against a hero like Lina might be nice to be able to protect yourself. In that moment, he thought he was going to be able to get a kill, but SCCC able to stay alive, and that'll slightly limit his gold output.
Yeah, I imagine he may have, like you say, been trying to go for the outplay. You do that surprise thing, and you see Lina going too aggressive, and you get a kill out of it. But
I don't think it's the worst thing. I mean, you're losing basically 4 gold per last hit once you're maxed out. But
bottom.
Bane kill possibly. He's got Brain Sap. He does
Brain
get it
Sap
off.
his way out of this one, and KP has a bug on him too. So it's not just Kaka going down; it should be KP as well dying.
He lived. Oh my God!
Wow.
He nightmared himself.
Things.
Oh my God! I thought he was
Mango
dead.
regen too.
For
He's
sure.
still got plenty of mana to play around with. He gets salved up. Boy,
I just, man, that's solo, man. He knows exactly when it's time to nightmare. He pushed that one to the limit.
He's probably the best Bane player out there.
Yeah, I think so too. So how are the other lanes going now? Mugi's at 26 and 8. The Dragonette's at 17. Not too bad actually. Probably helps to see him left the lane, and he's also just really hard to kill with all this armor and regen. So, but I think he's going to be pleased with his lane setup. He's not super zoned.
Back
Stun
in mid.
lands mid.
Yep, Sun's going to land. Faith's going to follow it up with a Nova. Wakes up SCCC to get the Dragon Slave for a kill on solo.
Oh, that was really
Bit
good.
of play.
Faith broke the nightmare. Is that what happened?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was
He
really good.
used his spells and then broke it too, so he made sure he got the Nova off.
That's a really good play.
Back at the top bounty rune, a bit of a fight going between Pasha and Mugi. It's going to be one apiece up top and down bottom, where the actual clash is coming. Kaka stunned up and picked off. Did get the bounty rune, but will pay for it with his life.
A little costly because he doesn't have boots yet, so delaying that means he's harder to roam. More likely he dies, but because it does channel into preventing out gold on the enemy team, probably worth it. And they're actually setting the pressure, and they've got 2 observer wards, one's blocking small camp, one's spotting him here. He's going to land the stun. He's got his ulti. It's going to be close though.
He's not level 6 though, so he can keep on chasing for this one. Has the movement speed from the Fiery Souls. No one needs to be careful. Dragon Slave back up, and nope, not enough damage here with the raindrops. Yep. SCCC, I think, thought he had that kill, but guess is wrong with the LSA now as well, and no one jukes his way to the shrine. Gets out of there.
Well, he did lose ulti, and he's completely out of mana, so probably not the best for SC, but he's...
Yeah, he's particularly not happy because no one's able to just keep on farming with the shrine usage, and he's going to stack up a camp here. Gets a nice little medium camp, another 3 units. Not the golems that he perhaps wanted, but still good enough.
Yeah, and both
Down
supports basically
bottom,
trading here.
Nightmare into bugs. They think they can kill KP, and it's not going to be the case, it looks like. KP just right-clicks the bug under the tower. Didn't actually have his heal up, which made it a little bit scary.
Hiding over here, but they know exactly where he is. Pops his heal now, and it's going to be a little
It's a brain
close.
sap. They may just keep on diving this one. Ramses doesn't have much health regen, though, so he has to be careful. They want to keep the siege creep alive, which is what probably the main goal is, to do some damage to this tower. Ramses has to be a little bit careful.
He'll get an enchant here, though. He may break. No, he's going to go more untouchable.
Brain sap. KP just getting chipped away at 3 points and untouchable. Still being chased here. Soul's got another brain sap soon. Still tower taking damage. That's a big part of this one. They kept this siege creep alive a long time. KP going to get back to safety now and will be kept alive. Back at top.
Looking like a kill.
TP
Yep,
cancelled. Nicely done by Newbee. They get themselves another kill, and it's Mugi on the PL having a pretty good start here. 40 CS for the Phantom Lancer.
So I think this looks pretty decent for Newbee right now. The Alk isn't out of control. He's actually at the same net worth as the Lina, but he is doing some jungling here. Power treads up as well, and how's Lina still sitting in the mid lane? I mean, the support's got some easy levels mid while Lina was roaming, so Faith has already got 3 points into Arcane Aura. It's going to be very helpful for an int-based hero like Lina and Enchantress, actually. So, helps them win their lanes. They've got all these levels. They can dive top, whereas on the other side, you got this off-lane level 5 Dragonite. What does he do right now? Almost nothing.
Yeah, we've seen some of these DKs get sacked one in another game by Optic, and it was a similar thing where it just felt like he was playing catch-up for a long time, and it took ages to get a Blink Dagger up, which he could have an impact with. And well, it's not just DK having a rough time, it's Ramses as well getting very low. Shukuchi keeps him alive, but he's not level 6 yet, so even if he hits it from this creep wave and gets time-lapse, he's still going to be on low health. He needs some kind of regen. As Mugi chasing the Dark Willow in the trees here, not going to find him. As he does turn back around, hoping to maybe get a lance off here. The slow from the Nova gets Moogie close, gets the lance out. Roger needs to be careful, has a Bramble Maze. He's gonna pop it, but doesn't actually. Oh, there we go. Gets the root afterwards. Moogie gets some backup now. LSA is going to come in from the Lina rotation. Lina's here. SCCC wants to clean this one up. There is a bug on him, which he gets the focus fire onto, but still very low. One more right click from Ramses is going to bring down Lina. That's a big kill to be taking here. Moogie, it's up to him now. The PL needs to clean up. He has some help from Faith, but that's not going to last all too long. Ramses in full retreat. He's got a triple kill on Moogie. Ramses will be A-okay. He's not going to succumb to the PL pressure, but all of this while Alchemist farms.
They did a good job picking off the Lina there. The bugs are so hard to deal with, especially with that much stuff in the area. And maybe the PL should have covered him a bit better, but just took so much to kill the Dragon Knight. His HP actually was valuable there. I said, what is he going to do? Well, he can just tank a lot of nukes. It made it easier to pick off the Lina at that phase. She only had an Aquila, so she's really actually not that survivable right now. But
Ramses forced a time-lapse at top. Being a little bit too aggressive there, though he knew what he was doing. He wasn't really in any serious risk of dying.
Does waste his time, though. He's got to run all the way back to Fountain, you know.
Yep.
Didn't get a great trade there.
And it's not like, yeah, there's no shrine, there's no jungle, no one's been taking that, but ultimately he wasn't going to really be able to defend this tower on his own anyways.
Smoke around through the jungle. It's going to be Crystal Maiden as well as Lina, but unless they get the Frostbite, he's going to get knocked out. I think Faith making a bit of a mistake there, popping the Nova then rather than wrapping around and catching no one as he shifted to the right. So kind of a costly one.
And even just the Lina not being quite in position to follow it up. Crystal Maiden's still nearby. Faith, it may want to block some of these camps. Seen a lot of CMs play this style. Back at bottom, the Bounty Rune fight. They know there's an Alchemist in the game, and KP wanted to stop the Bounty Runes going his way, but Ramses gonna be getting both, thanks to the grip from Solo.
So no one, still about the same net worth as the PL. I'd say this is a good position for Newbee to be in. Usually you want to be ahead on Alchemist, but he's prepping with his Invis.
Yep, and they got the damage for this one. Kaka has got Finger. He just hit level 6. He could level it up. He doesn't need it.
Oh,
maybe he does.
Okay.
Throws the Finger on a 50 health Alk, and I'd say it's hell worth it.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to make sure you get that kill.
That suicide would have been really costly. I mean, he still would have lost gold, which would have been good, but getting the gold on the other side, a little bit of experience, super valuable there. The Lionstone was a little delayed, though. The Light Strike already hits. The Elk was able to get some distance out. Maybe that made a difference, but
perhaps he was waiting for that Nightmare, expecting it to come to like dodge some spells and wanted to like impale after the Nightmare or something.
Yeah, to do damage. That way it breaks and they don't have to like, take it onto yourself or something. Bane is often in the right place at the right time. Solo is very good at that. So huge kill, and now PL is sitting a whole 600 gold ahead of where Alk is. So that was a massive pickup in the mid lane, and lucky they got the Invis Rune.
Going for a fast diffusal. He's going to take the fighting approach. The Battle Fury PL build all but dead at this point. Have not seen that in such a long time.
Oh yeah, that build was just like mechanics broken essentially.
No, Battle Fury got some pretty decent nerfs over time. KP down bottom needs to be careful. Curse Crown is there. Does go for the heal, which is going to deter Roger from using a Bedlam on him.
That was Faith. Somebody started a TP there. I'm not sure who it was, but they canceled.
Here come Newbee, though. Smoking in enemy jungle. They're trying to keep tabs of this Alchemist, but they just can't quite get the trajectory right. They'll find Roger instead, which is a nice kill. A better one would be Ramses down here. The double siege creep. Seen this before, trying to just push waves with this one. Beetle's being thrown back here, and it looks like the job is up to KP and SCCC to tank this one. They've got no heal for a couple of seconds. KP, they're going to keep the siege creeps alive. No Diaglyph, and KP healing up. He needs to just take the heal himself. Don't share it with those siege creeps. And the tower is not going to be claimed, A
little bit more armor, this would have been fine. He actually does lose the second one as well, so bit of a loss, but still a good grab. Then that's going to be a dead line.
Grip on Kaka. Yeah, oh, is it? There's follow-up. There's Moogie there, but the stun hits too. Nicely done by no one as the follow-up from Lina comes not in time to save his teammate, and they're looking for more. They really want no one. They dodge the Terrorize with a nice little doppelganger. Moogie trying to gun down no one, but with Chemical Rage up, just not possible. And Faith dead as well. 2 Newbee heroes hit the floor, and it could be a third. Moogie trying to TP out, gets caught by a Dragon Tail. He's got a doppelganger a couple of seconds, but he's not going to get a chance to use it, and it just gets worse. If SCC gets caught and it's a 1 second stun, that's all you need. It's not even a 1 second stun. It's the bare minimum. No one knows they've just won a big fight, a key deciding one. SCCC gives him the tip before he goes down. He's a good sport.
Man, So bad for Newbee. It looked kind of good because there was a haste rune on the Lina. He was wrapping all the way around to try to catch the Elk, but that Terrorize and the threat of the Terrorize made things so hard. If anything, if they just all ate it together, it would have been disengaged, nobody dies, but that overdive, the tier 1 is still alive, by the way. The overdive there proves to lose all of their cores, and a short moment before that, it just looks so good for the spellcasters on Newbee's side.
Yep.
Getting a lot of pickoffs. Can he catch Solo down here? Probably not. Either way, he does buy out on Lina right before his death, so he's got the Yule Scepter ready. So now solo ganking is going to be more than easy to do.
We'll see if they keep playing the aggressors. They sure as hell will. They immediately smoke, and I believe that one was under a dire ward in that jungle, as Dragon Knight's going to find a stun initiation with his fresh Blink Dagger. Kaka in some trouble, completely airballs the stun. He was hoping for the Weaver there, but didn't actually have detection. Instead, they'll find Pasha. With the smoke rotation in, they actually had the whole team there, whereas VP were playing elsewhere on the map, which is probably fine for them because Alchemist closing in on his Radiance.
So, with detection, I mean, he's got Blink Dagger on the Dragon Knight at least, so he can get in some of these fights, and it's okay to have a little miss here or there, as long as ultimately they're still creating space for the Alk. He's still hitting up his Tri-Camp, and he's still just a little bit ahead of the PL, but he's in acceleration territory. Pretty soon, once he finishes Radiance, things will get out of control, so a couple more kills would be useful, or at least Newbee needs to pressure the map in a big way, and they're still kind of just holding their lanes.
Yeah. They've got these 2 deep wards in one side of the jungle, which are nice because you see the Alk when he's there, and if he's not there, you know that he's over at that Tri-Camp, which is a very common place to be farming. Problem is they're using all these smokes, so it's quite difficult to gank right now. Kaka down bottom. Gets found out by a Blink Stun, blowing up. There's 4 VP heroes there, so the TP support gets immediately cancelled. They don't want anything to do with it. And the really nice thing about this is VP, every time there's bounty runes there, making sure they get 2 of them.
Yep.
Last time, I think it was Optic, when they had the Elk, every single time bounty runes come up, they got like 0 or at most 1 of the 4 bounty runes.
Yeah, that's super detrimental. Really changes your pattern. Still only a bit ahead of his opponents on the Alk, but Newbee has grouped up and they're pressuring the top tower. They keep the Siege Creep alive this time, and it's full HP though, so it's going to take some doing here. They're going to try to catch Solo, perhaps.
Bramble Maze will stop the chase, and even the threat of a Terrorize, being able to constantly pump fake it and cancel it is very hard to deal with here. You never quite know when it's going to be coming your way until you see that animation, and, well, Newbee are going to be able to take the tower. Is it denied? Nope. Not timed by Solo. He attempted it though.
Faith in trouble, being chased here by...
Pasha's rotating in on the DK from the river. He's going to blink stun here if he can find a good target. But PL himself is actually... They found Pasha, I believe. They know he's here. Pasha may need to blink out. He does do so. Back to the shrine area. We see Faith Kaka so low in health. But with Tranquil Boots on these 2, they will be slowly healing back up.
So they get out just fine. But definitely a lot of careful movements there. If they make mistakes, they're going to get collapsed on. At the same vein, they want to stay a little bit wide so they can collapse on their mobile opponents, and net worth is starting to creep out of control. No one hasn't moved from this place on the map in quite a while here. He's queuing up the typical build, Manta style afterwards, and even still, it's going to be a while until no one feels safe in team fights, like BKB territory basically, because if he is out of position and he gets grabbed, the only save that he has is a Terrorize from an ally or a Nightmare to possibly interrupt the chain stun.
Here's like Ench can kind of just sit far away and just deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time. Lina Lion, the dual finger combo, can do incredible single target burst damage.
Oh, he might set up on SCC here. He's got a grip. Oh, he lands a stun though. That's going to buy him time to run away unless...
Oh, he caught by the Bramble.
First
crown is there, and S-Triple-C is going to go for the defensive Nightmare on Solo. Stops himself taking any additional damage, and nicely done. Big kill for VP.
I'm not sure why he used the Yules originally on the Lina, but I saw him Yules as Solo was TPing in, and that was kind of where he was in a lot of trouble. I think he saw the Solo TP also, perhaps, but yeah, nice kill. Lina kind of pressuring top, trying to look for a solo kill, but instead he just dies.
VP immediately turn this into an aggressive play down bottom. They're going to run right into KP. Solo gets the grip up before a heal comes out from the Enchantress. There's a TP from the Crystal Maiden. DK, can he get the stun? Goes for the CM instead. They find a new target here. Alk shows up with a nice 2-man unstable concoction. Mugi caught in that one, but they don't want to fight this PL. They're fighting under Shrine, and they know just how deadly that can be. In fact, Alchemist could have been in a lot of trouble there, except for a perfect Terrorize, catching out absolutely everyone, securing the retreat here. No one wants to turn and fight. Gets the unstable concoction. And some help there with a bit of vision, and
What a save from
Wow.
from Roger. And it wasn't just the terrorize, it was also the Bramble Maze.
Yep.
When the Lina backed up briefly, Kaka's going to defend himself a little bit here. He's got to worry about the bugs.
Still
So.
okay, potentially?
Oh, he wants to play around it. Yeah. Okay, forces him back. So he lands the terrorize.
Down bottom.
1 second.
Yeah,
Never a pause.
Went for the... Not a hero initially. S-Triple-C now in full retreat. Has a Shadow Amulet. Can they spot him? They can burn him down.
It's only a
Breathe
matter
on
of time.
fire.
Maybe.
Yeah, S-Triple-C, you got to do something here. He's going to throw his spells in. Yeah, they know he was melting as PL shows up to the party. No one does have ultimate, though, and I don't think PL can fight him. Moogie is so low, he just dies to the breathe fire. Newbee are just collapsing.
Man, they're just punishing. They always find SCCC, and
Yep.
they have more than
Kill
enough heroes to get these kills. So it's
After
just
kill.
they're just running them down. Those are a couple crucial mistakes. I mean, the last 2 or 3 deaths from SCC has completely changed the tempo of this game. He hasn't found kills. His opponents have found kills. Just ward vision. There's sentries everywhere, and VP's just in the right spot.
This feels like a game where Newbee, like last game, even though they lost and it was kind of convincing from VP, I feel like overall Newbee played solid Dota. This time around, it's a bit sloppier. There's a lot more mistakes, a lot more kind of iffy decision making. Lina, getting caught solo pushing top and then down bottom. Lina gets caught again, and PL's like, oh, I'm going to run in after Lina's died with in a 1v3 against all this AoE damage and just also loses his life. It just feels like some really questionable plays based on the fact, they're versing VP, they're just trying too hard to make something happen.
Yeah, and maybe he's just feeling a little too confident. I mean, he was, prior to that death, 6-1-1, so he's doing very well. He just hasn't hit 15 yet. He doesn't have the health perk, and basically getting hit by the Alk stun there. He flew out a little bit earlier than expected. If he double gangs that, then yeah, maybe he can get a kill out of it, but still a little dangerous. No HP talent, no HP items, and they have quite a bit of AoE. Even like Breathe Fire is a great way to reduce the damage output.
Yep.
Are scanning.
That puts us back at Bounty Runes.
Dire Scan. I haven't seen too many teams do that. Scan to see, like, did somebody take the Bounty Rune? If I go over there, am I going to die? And Roger going for the safe play. So
it looked like VP just got 1 this time. A bit more acceptable.
Yep. Pasha waiting bottom to see if they can get a kill with Dark Willow and whatever he throws out, and maybe could kill KP here. He's got a lot of
Plenty of magic damage from the Dark Willow Bedlam if you get that insta stun.
He's got the talent and the cloak, so also possibly
but
survival.
Newbee bringing the entire team, so this is a bit of a bait here. Okay. And the second they see the Lina as well, it looks like, yeah, they are going to, tuck themselves in. Breathe Fire to say, hey, I'm here, but he's actually Blink TP'd, so nice little cheeky play from DK.
Yeah, I like that one. That was good. At least he waited a little bit until his support started TPing first.
Yes.
Normally it'll be like, Breathe Fire, haha, I'm safe, guys.
And then the support they go looking for you and they find your support. Like, okay,
yeah,
that's not cool.
That'd be a bad time.
Mantis Style on Alchemist is online.
Yeah, game feels really hard now. Elk's a full 50% more net worth ahead of where the PL is. Last couple of fights going bad. It's just like the scary thing about Elk. You have to take really good fights. You have to win most fights just to stay even with him, and now they're behind. And as soon as he finishes his item afterwards, things get really scary. But he's got Blink now too, so we're going to see some stuns. He's going to jump in last second and turn some fights.
Someone wants the ward. No one's just going to Quelling Blade. It gets pinged. About to say, you may not reveal yourself attacking the ward, but when a big area of vision on the map gets removed out of nowhere,
yes,
most teams will notice that.
I mean, Faith has nothing else to do, right? Standing in trees. Might as well look at the map. So they'll start off with Roche. The bug is going to get killed pretty quick now. No one does pull aggro eventually, and yeah, they're getting ready to fight.
Newbee's like, we gotta just go for this. We're reversing an Alk team. We're already behind. Let's make a play. KP just gonna go running in. We'll get stunned up. Doesn't stun any teammates, at least with the Terrorize trying to follow it up. They're going to take the Enchantress down. Immediate buyback here. They're going for more, though. Lina gets jumped on with the BKB on Ramses. There's just no solution to him. Alchemist is out of control as well. Radiance Manta already up. Roger gets the kill. Enchantress just brought back. I don't think there's much of a fight for her to come back into. And this is with Moogie having a double damage. He just found it then, I believe. Enchantress, well, didn't really buy back into a whole lot of fun. Just PL surviving, who is, playing around the outskirts of this fight. Is going to find Roger. Nice. Little cheeky kill there. Normalin, indeed, as VP will secure Roche.
So even though, they were very ahead prior to that team fight, but even still, the advantage of being on Dire with Bramble Maze feels so strong. Because if you look at the ramps, it's so much about like how the ramps approach the Roche pit. It's just grouped up there. You have to go down a cliff, down another choke point. And if he drops a Bramble Maze like that, that's like 3 Brambles on the way to getting inside Roche. So it takes Enchant far longer just to get there. It lets them know that they're coming, and they're going to group around and get terrorized anyways. This is what VP's abusing on the map, and this is why they're picking Dark Willow and why they're sticking to the dire side. All they do is land 1 stun on the Lina. They get the follow-up stun with the BKB on Weaver, and it's just so easy to win the fight.
Yeah, it's even with Mugi, you know, he's dodging some spells, doing what he can. It's nice, it's cute, it's keeping you alive, but at some point, you know, you actually have to address VP and take them down and contest the Roshan, not just play around it.
Oh, don't mind me. Just a wee fairy going about her business.
So Maelstrom on Weaver now. He's got the BKB almost to Lincoln's as well, sitting about 3,000 away. But once he finishes that, I mean, how does Lina even get something done? She's just finishing the Shadow Blade now. Their opponents are getting item solutions already. You can't even solo kill Ramses anymore. It basically have to be Lion into a Lina combo. And Lina felt so good for like 14 minutes, but all those deaths on SCC have just really hurt him.
That's what we've seen with Lina a bit in general. It's just, there's this fall off once you kind of get to this mid game until you get like some of those defensive items like a BKB, you're very squishy. If you ever get gone on as Lina, you're done for. And Lina, despite that, has done pretty well this term. I was looking at some of the win rates, was sitting around that like 70% win rate over like 18, 20 games or so, but
yeah,
this is a good example of how to take advantage of Lina's weaknesses.
So pushing through the mid lane for VP with the Aegis up. Alchemist is poor, which means he's got something coming. It's a BKB.
Well, there we go. You know, you recognize magic damage is the big problem, and that when Alk gets
They might get this
BKB.
Weaver. Stun on the ground, Frostbite follow-up, ulti. That was very close.
Yeah.
If he pops BKB there before going for time lapse, he lives 100%. So maybe a mistake there.
PL on the other side, though, similar story. Gets caught out, gets brought down. He was going for bounty runes and gets punished.
You definitely take that trade though.
Oh, Dark Willow died bottom. Okay, there's deaths all over. Every single bounty rune was. There's a hero who just went for it alone and died.
Every time
3 of the 4.
Every time I hide the recap, I press show fight recap again. It's another kill.
Yep.
Just open and close. So Crystal Mania did get the big Weaver kill though. A bit of a downside perhaps, in that most likely going to channel it towards maybe a Glimmer Cape would be really effective, obviously, but in some ways I'd prefer it's on Lina. Give him a BKB. That way he doesn't have to worry as much about a blink stun from Dragon Knight, perhaps.
Yep.
There's so many BKBs.
Bottom lane, VP setting up to defend solo. Has the grip ready from the trees, but didn't have the teammates coming in time, as Alchemist will just leave his illusions to push the top lane.
Solo a bit of a drum fan these days, it seems like.
Yeah,
And,
he's an aura fan. You know, teams stop picking these off lanes to get all the aura items, so maybe it's a support job again.
Yeah. And
Mid lane, channeling stun. No one gets the stun off. Can't disjoint that one, Kaka. Some good reactions, but no one does not want to chase.
Still very hard to take fights against VP with all the BKBs that they have. But Hex is definitely one good way that they have, and Kaka's usually putting his player in his hero in the right place at the right time, but it's so hard when, like, Lion is such a surgical hero, you know? It's like, you have really good disables on paper, but you're very vulnerable, you have to be in the right place, and it's not easy to just instantly win a fight, you know? It's almost never going to get like a lineup Earth Spikes. You're still kind of a single target hero, and AoE is just a lot stronger.
Back at the mid lane, Alk with a DD rune is taking a tier 2 tower. Not much to be said about that one from the Newbee side, and going to be going for a bit more here. He's still got 50 seconds left on this Aegis. Blink in the stun onto KP. They might be able to burst him down. They should be. Follow-up stun coming onto Faith in the Crystal Main. They leave him to the DK. And it's actually the Radiance finishing while forcing out a buyback on the CM. No buyback for KP. In fact, he bought back earlier, so it's a very long respawn. Yep, Terrorize going flying through. Catches out 2. Both supports in all sorts of trouble. CM's freezing field gets cancelled thanks to it. And Kaka dead as well. Deep inside his base, being chased down. Absolutely no escape. The base of Newbee is melting piece by piece.
They're so good how they do everything. They killed the tier 2 tower. They instantly pop a drum charge thinking like, we're going to get to this Rax like a second or two earlier than they expect. And they instantly blink forward, dropping a stun. They had BKBs ready. They had Dragon Knight who's super tanky. And it just starts the team fight in a place that Newbee wasn't expecting. And that's why they rolled them over. And all of a sudden the game is over. I mean, they had a huge advantage. They were likely to win. But even little stuff like that they're pushing against their opponents, that they're not expecting to play against. And that's the kind of stuff that is like, oh, we want a team fight, the game ends. Instead of like it kind of went even, we got to play safe now.
Seen this from Newbee. They not a team to GG out. And I mean, that's really every team here at TI. I mean, some other tournaments throughout the year, it's like, okay, you know, games probably over, let's GG out. But come TI, you play to that bitter end.
And the one thing no one and VP does so well though is they play it a little safe still. They're doing great moves. They're all on the same page, but they're not taking any gambles here.
And that's historically been VP's downfall sometimes, is their over-aggression. So they're addressing it.
I 100% could have seen them just sticking there, killing the tower, and then continuing the siege. But so much easier. Take the advantage. We almost killed the tower. Split push it again. Reset. We're not going to make mistakes. We're better than these guys. And then go for the next fight. That's got to be how they're thinking.
Very disciplined play coming out from VP. One of the tournament favorites, but a team who has had some TI woes in past years.
And majors, until recently, that is. But the prior major system always looked like the team to win the majors would have some disappointing losses here and there.
Yeah.
But not in the last year. They're the biggest major winners at this point in time. In the last couple of months, they've really just been showing everybody they're one of the best.
Yes. And they've kind of gotten past that first hurdle with the majors, and now it's like, okay, can they do it with TI? Because they had a disappointing result last year when they were probably one of the, on paper, top 2, top 3 teams coming in. And this year, similar story. They're coming in as probably a top 2 team next to Liquid, and people have high expectations of them, particularly considering the rest of the CIS region and how much it's underperformed.
All right, here comes the smoke for Virtus.pro here. The creep wave top is pushed out a bit, but they can use illusions to deal with that at least. And in the meantime, is this a defensive smoke for Newbee? They like smoked it across the map.
Yeah. Alk has just hit level 20 and has Octarine, so he's got that 6-second cooldown stun that does an insane 800 max damage. You don't even have to channel it, and you do like a 400 damage stun.
He's going to start his channel. He's going for the PL group. He does get it.
Catches him right away. There's going to be a follow-up. Terrorize. No doppelganger for you. There's a second stun. That's the cooldown reduction. The Octarine with that level 10 talent decimates Mugi's PL. He does not have buyback, and they're going to make a beeline for this bottom lane, I can only imagine. Faith pokes his nose out. Needs to be careful. SCCC as well. Invis up, luckily. No creep wave. They're going to push the creeps in mid, it looks like, and then access bottom lane thanks to that.
And just once again, Terrorize showing his power. One stun on the right guy.
He's just going in behind the tower. He's not going to get burst. He's got Nightmare. Does have the Finger of Death come out as well. He's still alive somehow, but not for much longer. But the rest of his team should be able to clean up this fight. BKB on the Lina. Going to at least give them some fighting options, but VP have BKBs of their own. Enchantress buys back, as does the Bane. And VP going to get to work on the racks here. Not sure there's much Newbee can do to defend. They're going to give it their all, though.
No one does still have his BKB, so if he wants to jump in or if there's a big fight, he can still use it. But Kaka trying to slow things down is reducing damage of Pasha jumping forward.
Finds the lion. That should be enough to clear him out. Actually, they're going to ignore the lion, go for the bigger fish. It's KP who just bought back an SCCC, who they know can't buy back thanks to his BKB purchase. And GG is called. 31 minutes. Another one-sided game. This one more so than the last.
Yeah, it really was. Makes a lot of sense why they ended up banning out the no-one Alchemist in the second phase in the prior match. It seriously kind of changed the whole game, and I'd argue probably put Newbee in a place where they felt like they had to force something, and that's when you start seeing amazing players like SCCC make mistakes, knowing like, if I don't start setting tempo the game, and I need to jump in and make this stuff happen, and then he dies a couple times, and then all of a sudden he's dealing with a BKB Dragon Knight that's going to jump in his face, stun him, and just set up his whole team. But we still saw Dark Willow be impactful in so many places. Good in the laning stage, huge in some of these late game core ganking situations. The Roche control, it's like they win every Roche fight because of Dark Willow, while still also being a good hero.
And VP puts them 7-3. It's a good place to be. Solidly second place in their group, behind VGA Storm, who've only dropped 1 game. It's still, you know, they were going to be feeling pretty comfortable. They had some like kind of day 1 jitters. They dropped a game to Serenity. I think they dropped a game to another team you wouldn't normally expect them to lose to. TNC. Then they lost a game to Secret, which is not as big of an upset. But, you know, this Group B, it's been very competitive. There's been very few 2-0s in Group B particularly, but VP solidify their spot near the top of the table.
Yep, still have to play VGJ Storm, so that's where we're going to see some Titans fall a little bit. But I mean, after this series, considering that Newbee was thought to be like a mid to high tier team maybe at TI, I think VP looks top of as best as they ever have. Well, curious to see how they match up against the best in the world. Maybe as they get into playoffs, but they're playing a really good here, and it seems like they have a really good grasp on the draft.
Yeah, I think that series kind of highlights the difference in level of some of these teams. I don't even say like, oh, a huge outdraft or anything. That just, you know, that's just VP being better at execution, at individual play, at laning, at like 90% of the aspects of Dota they were just better at. And it wasn't just a draft strategy win. So Newbee, they need to do some soul searching. They don't look awful by any means, but if they want to do better than middle of the pack, they're going to have to play better.
Yes, they definitely will have to. And
Yep.
they have some moments of strength, but it seems like they're still figuring out draft stuff a little bit as well. Enchant, not feeling as good that game. Lane stage it went kind of poor. So, I don't know. Maybe a bit of a miss that game. Felt good game 1, though.
Well, that does it for us here. We've got another series coming up. I believe it's Mineski versus VGJ Thunder. So stay tuned. More action coming to you here on stream number 2 or A or I don't know. Wherever we are.